Tales of our endeavors proliferate. Tales of our endeavors proliferate. Tales of our endeavors proliferate.
It's 15 shoe.
Damn.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
And that's what we open into.
Right?
I missed most of whatever that was. So shoes. I'm alright with missing shoes.
Shoes and being, unfortunately, a giant.
Yeah.
I had a dream last night about shoes. Was the weirdest thing.
And you should see the the hobo bandaging job I've done on my shoes.
I finally this year just got around to finally buying good boots, and I'm super happy I spent the money for them.
Oh, it is so worth it to spend money on footwear.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for those of you who can see on the camera on the stream, I had to rig up these laces to where I'm tying them on the sides. Jesus, this thing doesn't even fit on the camera. Because they just break. But I refuse to buy new shoes because these shoes are still in good condition. I just need to get new laces, but I'm lazy, so...
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah, they should make better laces.
So, I'm sure I'm ducked off camera there for a second. How's everybody's week?
Good.
And we
Tired.
We have somebody new with us as well. So Panzer, thanks for joining us for Blades in the Dark. I'm excited.
I'm super stoked for this. This game looks super interesting and fun. So.
How about everybody else? How's everybody's week?
Busy.
You weren't busy with anything, were you? You didn't do anything special, did you, HP Fox?
No, I was just trying to make it sound like I actually have a life.
Wait, you have a life? When did that happen?
I just made it sound like I'm trying to do something.
Exactly.
All right, where is that?
MPS, I like the layout you have because now I can pet the new guy.
Yeah.
We don't condone.
It's like Partridge Family, man. Like straight up Partridge Family here on stream.
I don't think anybody petted anyone in Partridge Family, though.
They might have.
I mean, I could be
not on
wrong.
Camera.
I could be wrong. That was a little before my time, so.
But not much, right?
But not much. No.
I think I remember reruns of Partridge Family, like on Nick at Night or whatever.
Yeah, Nick at Night. You had Partridge Family, Brady Bunch, and I Love Lucy.
Get Smart was my shit, even when I was like 6. So
did anyone else here watch Mama's Family when they were a kid?
No, I'm not even sure what that is.
Is it was that like Carol Burnett?
I think so. I think it was with Carol Burnett.
Because she played the daughter and her mom.
Because I used to me and my parents used to live with my grandparents, and my grandma would watch Mama's Family every night. So I was introduced to that and the Golden Girls.
No context for Mama's Family on that one. What about Mags? How's your week? What'd you get up to? Sounds fun.
Finished a couple of art commissions, so I'm happy with that. Designed a shirt, and one of my viewers gifted me all 3 of the Witchers, so I've got a full roster.
You can skip the first 2. Like, honestly, they're not that great. The third one is real good. The first one and second one, like, the developer made YouTube videos to catch you up because they were like, yeah, these are kind of garbage.
Wow.
So,
Previously on The Witcher.
Yeah.
Bad control scheme.
So
I remember playing The Witcher 2 and dying multiple times because of the control scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not very good. The story was decent, but
like they've always had great stories. It's just always, the control scheme seemed to screw people over.
I'm not gonna lie though. The only reason I want to play Witcher is because I get a horse. I'm a typical girl. I just want to ride the pretty pony.
Well, let me help you out there. I don't think you get a horse in the first or the second one. So
no, you get a horse in the second one. You have Roach in the second. I don't remember. I believe you have Roach in the first one too.
I played enough of the second one to get to like the town and realize like how terrible the control scheme was, whatever it was in the like swamp, and I was like, all right, I'm done.
So the first zone after the
much.
introductory tutorial.
Pretty much, yeah, that was it.
So you got into the first hour of the game.
It was like, this is terrible. Not doing it.
Imp, can I ask you a favor?
Yeah.
Can you switch my cam, like flip it?
Can I? That's a good question.
Yeah, because when I'm looking at my second monitor, I'm like looking off the screen.
Can I do that? Flip horizontal. There we
Which
go.
does you
Got
yeah, there you go.
Give them a quick preview of the other one.
Yeah, see, I just have Skype open. I'm looking at you
There we
guys.
All right. Now you're flipped. You're not gazing off into the distance any longer.
Right? Just like, oh. Now I get to look at you anytime I look at my second monitor. It's glorious.
You might break it. So we're gonna try out Blades in the Dark, and I'm super excited for this game, and we timed it perfectly because the final version of the game came out yesterday. So it was a project that was started on Kickstarter, and when it started on Kickstarter, it was about 80% done, and they've been doing kind of incremental updates to it as they've gone on, and then yesterday the final version of the PDF came out. Minus spelling errors and edits that need to be made for grammar or whatever, and then the print version comes out in April. So I'm really I'm as good as this is. I think I'm probably going to end up picking up the print version too, even though I already have the PDF. But really, for whatever reason, me and these and D&D books and Call of Cthulhu, having a physical book just feels better, even though I DM 99% of my games online.
It's always good.
I found that it's a lot easier to navigate the print versions, even though PDFs you just hit Control F. But I don't know, I just find it a lot easier to flip through the pages to find something.
Yeah, there's something about having that physical copy in your hands, I think.
Yeah, it's just the feel and the weight of the book in your hands as you're turning the page. I mean, even when I have to reference anything here on Roll20 when we do the 5th edition games, I've got my book sitting right next to me, so I just flip through them.
I think Poe's been into the wine already tonight. So the setting for this one is a bit different for those of you that haven't caught it anywhere else. It's a kind of industrial revolution setting. But it's in a world that has ghosts and husks and vampires, so there's some occult in there. And I think we'll probably talk through the setting a little bit as we play and try to get everybody kind of familiar and on the same page with it as we go. But tonight is episode 0, so these 4 guys are going to create their characters, and then we're going to go from there, and maybe be able to do a little bit of playing tonight, depending on how quickly kind of character creation goes. So that being said, I know that Panzer has started on his character already a little bit ahead of time. We talked a little bit before stream. You want to kind of give us a rundown of who you're planning to play there, Panzer?
Yeah, so my character is a hound in the game, so he's kind of like a range specialist. I went with his name is Weaver Rowan. And he's a former Skovlin soldier that people thought were dead, and he managed to survive after his unit got wiped, headed on a boat, and ended up in the current area in, where is it, Duskwall. And so his unit got wiped in Cerberus, which is another outside area. And he has a pet. Pretty much he's just like a range specialist, military background, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Skolvins are not from Duskwall, so you're kind of a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of ostracized from the rest of the population because you don't fit in quite enough to make it in Duskwall on your own. So maybe that's why you're out looking for a group to kind of help make some coin with.
Exactly.
All right, right on. Has anybody else had a character in mind? I know we're just kind of jumping into this right away, so if you haven't had time to think about it, do it quickly.
I know I want to play a leech, but that's about it. I haven't had any time these past couple days to look through the PDF or anything like that. So
okay.
I'm going into this, aside from knowing I want to play a leech, completely blind.
All right, so let's I guess since you know that part of it, let's go over what a leech is for everybody. Hang on just a second.
The kind of nice thing about this game too is it's going more off of your personal personality, and you aren't to go too in depth with the actual character development before. It's just this is kind of who you are, and then your character, since they're starting something new and fresh, it's how they progress from there. So I just wanted to kind of find out more about some of the background information before I made a character.
Yeah, the backstories, I think. I guess while everybody's looking over it, I can kind of go into the world backstory a little bit, and this gives everybody a chance to kind of figure out what they want to play. Hey, Steele, it has been a long time, sir. How are you doing? So the world of Duskwall is this rundown kind of Victorian Industrial Revolution setting, and the city of Duskwall is surrounded by these lightning fences that keep all of the ghosts out. So one thing that happens in this setting is that when someone dies, a bell rings in the tower, and a crow leaves and begins to circle the area where the person died. And circles get kind of tighter and tighter until they, kind of indicate where the corpse is. The reason for this is that ghosts will leave the person's body after about 3 days and slowly go insane and become murderous. So the way to keep that from happening is that the body is picked up and dunked into this ectoplasmic acid that dissolves the body and the ghost inside of it. So the world outside of Duskwall, Duskwall is a coastal city, so it's got this very black, inky sea outside of it, where demons and these creatures kind of live under water. And one of a main kind of resource is this demon blood or Leviathan blood. And that's what powers the city so it's like, if you think back to like Industrial Revolution times, it's the equivalent to whale oil. And they use it to power all of their machines and all their electricity and stuff. So you have these big, massive ships in the ports in Duskwall that go out and hunt these Leviathans and then bring back the Leviathan blood to help kind of power the city. So there are some kind of lands outside of Duskwall that either they're wild and they've learned to kind of live with the ghosts, or maybe they have their own kind of method of dealing with the ghosts. Or there's some areas that kind of prominent houses have set up their own type of compound outside of Duskwall, and so they've got their own lightning towers up, keeping the ghosts at bay. So that's kind of where we're at. Duskwall is very kind of sectioned off into these different districts, and some of them are better off and kind of well-to-do, and some of them are run down, and you have stuff like the docks, and then others are, at one point, there's a section, and I think this is where we're going to start you guys off, in Duskwall, called Six Towers. They used to have very prominent families that had these large towers built there, hence the name, but has now kind of fallen into squalor. And you guys are kind of, this is where you're going to start off. There's 2 houses left that have their houses still intact in that area. So I think that's where we're going to start you guys off at. It's got a little bit of ghost and occult activity in the area, but nothing terribly threatening. The security is a little lower there, so you guys can kind of operate with less worry on local law enforcement sticking their noses in your business.
The law enforcement's the blue coats, right?
It is. So you've got a couple of tiers of law enforcement, and you have the blue coats, which are like street cops. You have investigators, which are detectives, and then you have magistrates, which are kind of like judge, jury, executioner type thing. Some of those can be bribed and bought off. Blue coats usually, if you have enough money, they're happy to turn a blind eye. Same thing with magistrates. Magistrates can kind of be paid off to, hey, I saw this person commit a crime, and you can pay them enough, and they'll pull up and write up the documentation for that to have actually happened. Investigators, on the other hand, are usually a lot more strict and don't take bribes and don't turn blind eyes, and because of that, they tend to die pretty quickly, depending on who they get involved with. So that's kind of the setting where you guys are and kind of how the world kind of feels around you. You're going to be playing a group of scoundrels or criminals. For whatever reason, your life has decided to send you in that direction. And I think we talked on Monday ahead of time that you guys are going to be a group of assassins. Some killers for hire. So that's going to be kind of interesting to get into. And we've got And I lost the name already. Weaver as our hound and sharpshooter. Is that kind of what you were looking at for Weaver Panzer?
Yeah, I was actually thinking more. Yeah, sharpshooter. Sharpshooter doesn't necessarily mean that it's just like a extremely long distance attack. It can also be like rapid fire to like suppress the enemy and things like that. So you have a lot of different options with it as well.
Okay, but he prefers kind of doing things from a range instead of like being up close and personal.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
All right. So, Rojan, you had said that you were looking at Leech.
Yup.
All right. So, give us a rundown on Leech real quick. What does a Leech kind of specialize in?
Well, I'm just going to read exactly from the page because I haven't really done much studying. But it says leeches are good at using alchemy and wrecking stuff with sabotage. Play a leech if you want to be creative with weird tools.
All right. So, you're going to be blowing things up or picking locks or
healing people,
people, or subverting the power grid with this weird hook or something. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. It says leeches are the scoundrels who distill the drugs, refine the arcane essences, build the bombs, bandage the wounds, and forge the tools of the criminal trades. And knowing how to make things also means knowing how to break them. All right.
So, kind of tinkering with things and then tearing things apart as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the way that Blades in the Dark works is you pick one of these. It's a playbook really, and so the way it starts out is you have cutters, which are your kind of brutes and your fighters. You have hounds, which are your sharpshooters. You have a leech, which we just kind of went over. You have a lurk, which is the kind of playbook that deals with kind of staying in the shadows, dealing with kind of your typical, if you think of like a medieval assassin, that's kind of where that slides in there. Speaking of which, slides they deal with subterfuge and breaking and entering. Spiders, which are kind of...
Enjoy your stay.
Thank you for the follow. Who was that, Poe? I believe that was Poe. Thanks for the follow, Poe. Appreciate it. Or no, sorry, that was Country. I already thanked Poe. You don't get a second thanking, Poe. You have to give all of that to Country. Where's that? Oh, spiders. So spiders are, they deal with information and kind of manipulating the forces around them through their information and either gathering it or what they know about who, stuff like that. And then we come to whisperers, which whisperers deal with the occult and kind of dealing with spirits and any kind of arcane powers. So those are, they're not really classes for this game because they are, your abilities can be borrowed. So you could be a whisperer and deal in the occult, but also like because of the way you built your character, you also like snapping people's necks.
Enjoy your stay.
Thank you for the follow, D and Dungeon Master. Welcome to the game. So you have playbooks and you have some special abilities from what you pick from this playbook, but just because you are a hound doesn't mean you can't tinker in dealing with information. So it's a little bit more flexible than if you were to go, hey, I'm going to be a fighter in D&D, and now you can't cast spells until you multi-class. So it's a little bit more flexible than that. So that's all of our, for lack of a better term, all of our classes for this game. Mags and HP Fox, we haven't really heard what you guys are thinking about playing as far as class, again, using the word loosely, as far as your class goes. You guys have any ideas?
I'm liking the lurk, and maybe if something arises, I'd also kind of like the whisper.
Okay. So kind of going back.
I'm in the exact same boat. I like the lurk and the whisper.
All right. So we
Rock,
got
paper, scissors.
Yeah. Oh wait, HP Fox's cam is off. He could cheat. Totally threw paper.
I'll let Mags choose first, and then I'll choose the other one.
All right.
Sounds about right.
I'll do whisper then.
All right, you gonna take
All right,
whisper?
and I will be lurk.
All right, sounds good. So we've got a crew that has a hound, a leech, a lurk, and a whisperer. All right, so that's gonna be a pretty, I think, rounded crew. You guys have your fingers in kind of everything there. All right, so from that, the next thing that we do for character creation is we start to talk about your character's heritage and kind of where their family line originates and where that's from. If you guys are in the PDF, it's page 53. And so these are kind of.
Do you need a download for that? Do you need to download it to be able to see it?
I mean, for you guys, they would have to buy it.
Well, but that's what I mean is.
Yeah.
I can just open it up and go to page 53.
Yeah.
Because I was just looking at it in the web browser, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, either one should be page 53 of the PDF.
All right. Here we go. Wait, are you sure? Because that just took me to Turf.
Oh, you have the old PDF. The
Yeah.
newer one is on the Discord.
Yeah, let me throw you a link. Hang on.
That's probably why I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's up a little bit now. I got it. I'll PM it to you on Discord.
All right.
There you go.
Much appreciated.
So as far as heritages go, this is I guess the D&D equivalent of the character's race, for lack of a better term here. So we've got a couple of, with about 6 options. We've got Arcos, which is the main kind of race in Duskwall. These are your normal humans. There's an area outside of Duskwall, out in the Ink Sea, called the Dagger Isles, which does not have lightning towers, and they kind of deal with life in. They have to basically deal with the ghosts and everything on an everyday basis. They often grow up on ships and kind of travel a lot before settling down. A lot of them become kind of merchants and kind of hawk kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Unique and rare items from outside of Duskwall. So if you were from the Dagger Isles and you ended up as in Duskwall, maybe you tried your hand at being a merchant for a bit before maybe something went south. If you wanted to be something, and I'm kind of reading from the book here, but if you wanted to be from a culture that's considered kind of foreign by the locals, and I'm going to mispronounce this, you could be from Eruvia. I'm going to go with that pronunciation. So it's a powerful kingdom desert. Far to the south, these would be kind of cultures similar to Egyptian or Indian cultures. What else we have? Cerberus is another race that's kind of outside of the imperial settlements. They're nomadic horse tribes. And they kind of deal a lot with the arcane and dealing with kind of repelling spirits. They live out in the Deathlands, which is the kind of the area outside of Duskwall, outside of the known civilization, basically. Got 2 more? Yeah.
Scotland.
Scotland, yep, is an island kingdom. And a lot of them lost their homes in this 36-year Unity War. So you'd probably be looking at kind of a refugee mentality, kind of displaced people for that at this point. And then the last one is Tykeros, which Tykeros is kind of that place that you always hear about, but you never really meet anybody from. It's like, I'm trying to think of a real world equivalent. But it's a kind of a, to me, it'd be like
original Amazonian place?
Yeah, like an original Amazonian or like an Aborigine. Like, they exist, but you've never actually seen one in person kind of thing. But the Tykeros always have a very kind of distinctive look about them. They have like blacked out eyes completely, or maybe like feathers instead of hair, or like a shark's grin where all of their teeth are jagged and pointed. Rumor has it that Tykeros have demonic blood kind of mixed in with them, but that's just a rumor. So those are our kind of our choices for races there. What's I know that Panzer's already has his picked out, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing
Scovlin.
I will eventually get these pronunciations. All right. So we'll start the other way this time. HP Vox, anything jump out at you from that?
I think I'm probably going to go with Dagger Isles.
Yeah. All right. Mags?
Tyshros.
Tigros. All right. Rojan?
Same here.
All right. How come?
Oh.
Just out of curiosity.
I just kind of like the sense of having something weird about a character. Just like you kind of sort of stand out. You're not like your average everyday run of the mill person.
Sure. Make it a little easier to identify when somebody sees you, but that's fine. I'm just kidding. I'm thinking of GM like things to remember for later. Actually,
that's what masks are for. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. I'd be completely fine with that.
I mean, who does assassinations without, a mask and uniform? You're just asking for trouble.
That's a fair question.
Dead people, that's who.
So, probably. So have you kind of decided on a distinguishing feature?
I'm thinking about it.
All right. Mags, how about you?
I'm digging the blacked out eyes.
Yeah? It's just kind of full pupil eyes?
Goggles. Yeah, she hides it. Goggles. She's
All right.
good.
All right. So the next part for this is going to be a background. And this is kind of where your character kind of originates from. And we've got, about another 6 or 7. We've got academic, which kind of speaks for itself. Labor, so maybe you worked in a factory. Maybe you kind of went and dug ore in a mine somewhere. You were a coach driver or a sailor. Maybe you worked on the docks. So law, so you could be a blue coat or a former blue coat. Or a spirit warden, which is the people that come to take the bodies before the ghosts can escape. Prison guard, or maybe maybe at one point you were a investigator and something happened there. We also have trade, so if you could be a shopkeeper, or if you're from the Dagger Isles, HP Fox, maybe you could be somebody that was peddling some unique wares that their shop didn't pan out for whatever reason. Military background, so mercenary, intelligence operative, training instructor. We talked about the 36 Unity War. So maybe you're and I think Panzer, I think this is your character actually, is a leftover from that.
Yes. So, like I said earlier, so the military background, pretty much just a simple soldier, I guess what you would consider like a sergeant in the current military. From there, his unit got wiped out. So that was during the war, and it's been 3 years. And now he's found himself in Duskwall.
Okay. And we've got an option for a noble background. So maybe you were part of the option for being part of a house that has fallen. Or a dilettante, or even like a courier. Maybe you were just kind of running errands for a house, but you were associated with a noble house. And then there's the option of Underworld, where you were kind of always part of the Underworld. You were a gang member or an outcast for some reason. You grew up on the streets, or you were a street urchin. So those are our backgrounds there. So I know we've got Panzers with military. HP Fox, anything jump out at you for your character?
Yeah, I think because the people from the Dagger Isles do a lot of sailing and stuff, and anytime you have sailing, you're also gonna have piracy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like disbanded pirate group, and my character was just like your run of the mill boarding party type laborer.
Okay.
And then just landed in the city after that fell apart.
All right, were you thinking labor for that, or were you thinking kind of Underworld? Because that could swing really either way.
I'm thinking just straight labor for that.
Okay. Max?
I'm probably gonna go with Underworld.
Okay. What kind of background from Underworld there? Like, were you an orphan, grew up on the streets, or you
Probably a street urchin.
Street urchin? All right. What put you in that position? Like, how'd you end up on the streets?
Probably parents died, had no money left over, and she's had to fend for herself, probably at a very young age.
Okay. So orphaned, young, kind of grew up on the streets. Did you have You think you had a mentor or somebody that showed you the ropes, or were you just kind of a little more feral and fend for yourself?
She probably had somebody take her in and show her the ropes, especially with especially with the fact I'm wanting to go with the whisper trait.
Okay.
Somebody probably taught her how to do that.
Okay. And Rojan?
I think I'm going to go Underworld as well, but I'm going to go with the kind of like the Outcast sort, because I kind of decided what I want the Tesseros heritage to look like on my character, and just giving him like cat eyes and a very distinctive like Cheshire cat like grin.
Okay.
So looking very mischievous and getting into things that he shouldn't be getting into when he was younger had left a very black mark on his standing in society, as to where nobody trusted him around anything, and if anything went wrong, he was usually the one to be blamed or the one to just take the fall for it.
Okay. So now we're at the point with you guys' character sheets where we're actually going to start filling in kind of stuff for your heritage and your background on your skills. So find something on your skills that really like you feel like fits your heritage and fits your background.
Would that be like the Insight, Prowess, and Resolve?
So it's going to be the ones under Insight, Prowess, and Resolve. So it'll be the actual skill itself. So like Hunt, Study, Survey, Tinker.
Okay.
And
then we just click one.
Yep. So you click one of the dots. At the start right now, your max rating is 2 in any particular skill. I'm gonna
okay. So how many dots do we only choose one of these, or how many dots do we have to choose?
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put one dot from a action that you feel reflects your heritage, one dot that you feel reflects your character's background, and then you have 2 more dots to put anywhere that you want.
Are we doing the base ones that they come with, the starting actions?
Yeah, I need to actually throw that in here. I realized as we got to that, I was like, oh, there were ones with your playbook too, which I need to kind of go back and find what they were. So let me do that real quick.
And the one dot we're putting into the one that on the far left behind the line, right?
Right.
Okay.
So let's see. For Hound, it was...
Mine is 2 in Hunt, 1 in Survey, and so with that I get, you said 3 other points I can use?
You have 4 other points total. So 1 that reflects your heritage, 1 that reflects your background, and then 2 others. For Leech, let me see if I can find where that's at. Give me just a second, Rojan.
Yeah, I believe Leech was Tinkerer.
So let's see. Yeah, you get 2 in Tinker and 1 in Rec.
And then I have 2 other points to put into something else.
Right. After you've done your heritage and your backgrounds. Yep.
Okay, so that's what I mean. My heritage and background, I have those 2, and then I have the 2 and the playbook points as well.
So you have the 2 from your playbook, or the 3 from your playbook, because you got 2 in Tinker. You have 1 for heritage, 1 for background, and then 2 other that can go anywhere you want.
Heritage, background, and the 3 from... So, because it's Tinker and what? Tinkerer and Rec was for my Leech. So I've got 3 others that I can do.
And then you could do heritage. You got 1 for heritage. You got 1 for background, and then 2 more.
Okay, so I have 4 more that do on top of the playbook stuff.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And the max I can have in them is 2 points at the moment.
Right.
Okay, right on.
All right, HP Fox, you were a lurk?
Yep.
All right, so you get 1 in finesse and 2 in prowl?
Yes, I do.
And then Mags, you were a whisperer. You get 1 in study and 2 in attune.
Cool. All right. And then I just get 4 more. All right.
Yep, and you get 1 for heritage, 1 for background, and then 2 additional.
Is it study, right?
Study and attune were the two that you get.
Okay. I clicked on survey. I was like, wait, that's all right. Okay.
All right. Where was I at? Oh, too far. Okay. So the next part of this is with each of your playbooks, you guys get to choose a special ability, and that are listed on the second page of that playbook. I think Panzer, you already grabbed yours for sharpshooter.
Yes.
Okay. And that one, let's see, what is it? What does that actually give you?
So I can push myself to do one of the following: make a ranged attack at extreme distance beyond what's normal for the weapon, or unleash a barrage of rapid fire to suppress the enemy.
Okay. So Rojan, you've got with your leech, you've got alchemist, artificer, analyst, fortitude, ghost war, physicker, saboteur, and venomous. Any of those jumping out at you?
A lot of them are jumping out.
Okay.
Let's see.
So what these do is like when you take an action or a or even during downtime, it gives you kind of some benefits to what you do, and as you level up your character, you can actually take more of these as you go along from your playbook. So whatever you're picking now, you can definitely come back and get some of the other ones later.
Gotcha. I'm looking between artificer and saboteur.
Okay. So Artificer is when you invent or craft a creation with Sparkcraft features, you take one extra dice to your roll. And you begin with one special design already know. All right. And then Saboteur, when you wreck, your work is much quieter than it should be, and the damage is well hidden from casual inspection. So that's definitely if you're kind of disabling an alarm by just pulling all the wires out. You stiff it back into the box so it doesn't look like the alarm's been disabled.
You know what? I'm going to take saboteur.
Okay.
So where do I note that down here on the character sheet?
You want to just copy and paste it into the section where it says special abilities at the bottom left.
Special abilities, bottom left. Oh, okay, I gotcha.
All right. Let's see, and then we have our lurk. So HP Fox, have you had a chance to look over kind of your special abilities?
Yeah, I think I'm either going to take Ghost Veil or the Devil's Footsteps, but Ghost Veil involves a lot of like stress management stuff, so I wanted to ask you about the stress system and how it affects our characters.
Yeah, I can talk over the stress system. So the way that works is when you're making rolls or you're doing something in particular, hang on just a second. There we go. So when you're taking rolls or doing something in particular, you can push yourself, which means that you get an extra dice for your roll, but it means that you take 2 stress. And as your stress builds up, it can lead to what's the word I'm looking for? You start to take downsides from it once you get to your max stress. But you have downtime between each of your scores where you can do things that manage your stress, like indulge yourself in whatever your vice is. And doing that lowers your stress. So it's something that you manage. The best comparison I can give you is like Darkest Dungeon.
Oh yeah.
So
I was terrible at managing stress in that game.
It's very similar to Darkest Dungeon as far as having a mechanic where you kind of manage your stress and manage like how hard you want to push your character.
Okay, because with Ghost Veil in particular, every time I use it, I take 2 stress and then plus another one if I want to make it extra awesome.
Right.
And that could add up really quickly.
Well, you do get when you come to a roll where maybe you would take stress, you do also get things like a Devil's Bargain, where I can go, yeah, you'll get an extra dice, but because you're taking that extra dice, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then you can also get help from somebody in the crew for the role, and maybe they'll take 1 stress instead of you taking 2. So there are ways to manage the stress as you're playing as well. So are you kind of leaning towards Ghostvale still, or are you thinking about Devil's Footsteps?
I think I'm probably going to go with Ghostvale.
Okay. And what does that actually do?
It says you may shift partially into the ghost field, becoming shadowy and insubstantial for a few moments. Take 2 stress when you shift, plus 1 stress for each extra feature. And it lists 3 extra features that I could add on to it when I do it. One of them is where it lasts for a few minutes rather than just a few moments. Or I could make myself completely invisible rather than shadowy. Or I could allow myself to kind of float through the air like a ghost when I use it.
Okay.
So if I wanted to use any of those extra feats when I use the ability, I would have to take a total of 3 stress instead of 2.
Right. All right. And Mags, you and your Whisper, have you had a chance to come up to a conclusion on your special abilities?
No, I'm not even sure where to find them.
All right, so if you go to your Whisper page, which is 85.
Okay.
It's the next page down, so it's on 86. There's a couple of them to kind of go through. That's the ones that are like Compel, Ghost Mind, Iron Will, Occultist, Ritual, Strange Methods, Tempest, and Warded. Those are your kind of your options there.
Okay, so you said... Are we talking 85 in the actual book or 85 in the PDF?
86 in the actual book. So page number to 86.
Gotcha. There we go, okay. If you want to skip me for a second while I look through...
You're the last one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Well, actually, now's a good time. I gotta get my son to bed anyway. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we will be right back. And with some more character creation for Blades in the Dark. Thank you guys for sticking around and hanging out and watching us. We appreciate it.
It's perfect time for me to get soda.
Huzzah.
I just ran out, and I'm sitting here like eating a full can of Pringles sour cream and onion chips. I'm like, I need something to drink.
This is awfully salty.
All right. As soon as I can get my volume stuff pulled back up, we will be back live. There we go. All right, we're back.
Whoa.
And
I'm inside HB Fox right now.
You are. Let me close that.
Oh my!
We still doing
As it was
good.
always meant to be.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a whole nother
freezing?
stream now.
Poe's gonna
Okay.
get jealous. I mean, what?
I was gonna say, I think I'm teetering between three of them, and one of them I'm leaning the most towards.
Okay.
The one I'm leaning the most towards would be Tempest, and then the other two would be Iron Will and Ghost Mind.
All right. So
I like the idea of Tempest because of if we have to, like, with HB Fox being what his character is going to be, creating a heavy fog might help his characters sneak in, sneak out, little stuff like that. I can also create violent storms and stuff like that.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like that would fit real well with an assassin group that maybe needs to get in somewhere and then get out without notice.
The
Yeah.
only other reason the other two sound like they'd be good, but because with my character's setup, Ghost Mind, meaning I'm always aware of supernatural presences. I mean, I'll know if a ghost is nearby, if that's going to become a potential issue. And Iron Will just means if we do run into one, I'm less likely to be scared, shitless.
Yeah. Oh,
But I think Tempest is going to be the one I go with.
okay. And Six Towers, where you guys are going to kind of be out of, definitely has some occult activity as far as ghosts and that. So that might be something useful down the road. All right, so everybody's kind of got their special ability picked out from their playbook. The next thing that you work on is your best friend and your rival. So these are going to be characters that either you can go reach out to them for aid if you need it, or these are going to be people that maybe you need to keep an eye out for, make sure that they don't stab you in the back or complicate your lives in unforeseen ways. And my inner DM at that thought is just giggling, just so you guys know. So Panzer, you've got yours down. Who do you have?
So Melvir is a psyker, and the quote like next to him is perhaps an old friend who's patched you up many times, or someone to whom you've sent too many victims. So being like a former soldier and basically like trying to do the role of like a bounty hunter, somebody who's patched me up after, going on missions prior to the whole crew thing kind of makes sense for the character. So I'm going with him as a friend, and for a rival, I'm going with Valeris, who's a spy. Who does she give or he give information to? Because the targets I'm killing, somebody's got to be keeping an eye on that.
Okay, so
as the rival.
Does Valeris have any personal vendettas against you, or is it just kind of a business thing?
I think it's more of a business thing.
Yeah.
That they're feeding information on, like, he's doing these contracts, he's giving it to somebody, but I don't know who they're personally giving it to.
All right, so you have a so it's not a personal vendetta against Valeris, it's just somebody that you want to keep out of your business.
Yeah.
Okay, can go with that. Rojan, you got any friends and rivals there?
Where would I find that in the book?
So that's on your leech page on page 69.
Ah. Hey. What do you know? It is on page 69.
Giggity.
Giggity. All right, so what do we got here?
So you've got a couple of people that you can just kind of pick from, and like one of them you want to make a close friend and ally. The other is going to be a rival for some reason.
So just a... Okay, so I think with the friends I would go with Eckert, a corpse thief.
Okay.
Because why not?
All right, so is he here you get some raw materials from, or is he somebody that maybe cleans up some of your messes, or what?
He's more somebody who gives me raw materials, anything he thinks that would catch my interest.
Okay. And there's a spot for him and for your rival on the right-hand side of the sheet under Strange Friend. that area.
Yep.
So you just type him in there, and then let me know who your rival is going to be as well.
What exactly is a blood dealer? Is that just another assassin, or?
So a blood dealer is somebody that's going to deal in Leviathan blood.
Okay.
Not only does it like power things, but it can be used for occult activities as well.
I think I'm going to go with Stasia, the apothecary.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a rivalry because at one time we were partners, but they ended up turning legitimate, and now they're always pestering me to clean up my ways.
All right, maybe reporting you to the Blue Coats on occasion to try to
On occasion, just slipping them a little information on a job I may be on, trying to scare me straight.
Okay. All right, HP Fox, what are you thinking for friend and rival there?
For the friend, I think I'm going to go with Darmot, who's a blue coat. I figured he was maybe part of the same party of pirates that I was, and when we disbanded, he decided to go the lawful route in the city rather than being a sneak thief or assassin or anything like that. And that's how we would know each other. And I thought that could be quite useful to us to have a friend in the Blue Coats, given that we're not very friendly people. And for the rival, I was thinking Frake, who is a locksmith. And where that might come into play is if I'm having to sneak into a particular area with locked doors or steal something from a locked cabinet or something like that. Any lock that has like the Frake mark on it that was crafted by this guy would be like especially difficult for me to open or break through.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
All right, and I think the way that we'll do that, and this gives me the ability to kind of introduce something to the game for you guys, is there are mechanics in the game called clocks, where it's something you either fill up or try to keep from filling up, and once it fills up, something happens. Whether it be like you're trying to sneak in through a patrol of guards, and you have to take a couple of actions to make sure that you don't get seen. That could be a clock. Gaining favor with somebody could be a clock. But what we'll do if we come up to a lock that Frake has worked on, maybe it'll take you a couple of times around to fill up a clock to actually be able to get through it. So it slows you down a little bit.
That sounds good.
All right. Hybrid, you have your friend and rival picked out?
Not even sure where to find them. I'm scrolling down.
No worries. It's on your Whisper page on page 85. I need to actually see if there are clocks in here, if I need to make some. I don't see any in Roll20. I'll probably have to make some before next session. Okay.
Okay, I see it. Okay.
I'll draw some terrible hand-drawn clocks if we need them before then. Had to go grab my hoodie. Like it's been freezing lately up here. I don't know what the deal is.
Right,
it's
dude?
been ridiculous.
Serious, it's so bad, and it's windy. It's super windy right now.
Today was horrible. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think I've picked my friend.
Okay.
Which be Sitara, which is a demon. Given I'm from Tychros, probably a good likelihood that's why she took me in was because, oh, hey, kindred, let me teach you a few things.
Okay.
And as far as rival, probably going to be a Quellin the Witch. Probably sees me as like I don't know, a form of competition for business
Okay.
somehow.
All right. So we've got a demon that maybe kind of helped you out as you were growing up in the streets and kind of mentored you a little bit, and you guys still keep in touch? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Quellin, who is maybe she's not happy that you're kind of friends with a demon. Maybe she at one point offered to tutor you, and you kind of went the route of being friends with Satara instead.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. All right, there's a spot on your sheet at the bottom right where it's got like friend name and fiend name, or it's got friend name rather. One's in black and one's in red. Throw the rival into the red one and the friend into the black one.
Okay.
All right, and so that finishes up our friends and our rivals, and gives me a little bit of things that I can work with as a DM, which I'm sure I will not turn against you in any way, shape, or form.
Hey.
So the next thing that we need to pick for your characters is a vice. So all of your characters being dastardly ne'er-dwellers have a vice of some sort. Whether this is you like gambling, or whether this is you like drugs, or you have some secret cult religion that you follow and that's kind of frowned upon by everybody else. You know, there's a couple of different ways you can really go with the vices, and I will eventually find the page number that these are on. They're on
55.
156.
Choose your vices on 55.
55?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, yeah. There's a real quick breakdown on 55. Let me check and see what's on 156 then. Hang on. Okay, so that's more mechanic stuff. Yeah, so you guys just want to look at page 55.
Okay.
So I know that Panzer's already got his picked out, so we will just kind of review yours while everybody else kind of goes into theirs.
Stupor is my vice, which is you seek oblivion in the use or abuse of drugs, drink to excess, getting beaten to a pulp in fighting pits, etc. I figured for like a person who was long thought dead, an entire unit was wiped out during the war. That, you know, a guy who tries to suppress that with alcohol would be the vice.
Okay.
Choice for him.
All right. So, and the way that Vice works is when you guys have downtime, kind of between your jobs and everything, one of your available actions is to indulge in your vice. So for Weaver, it would be go out and get shit-faced somewhere on booze in a tavern. And what happens is you roll the indulge your vice, and whatever you roll, you can then remove from your stress level. You can also overindulge, which causes more problems. So if you have like 4 stress and you roll a 5 on your indulge your vice, you've now overindulged, and so that'll cause problems for you. So that's kind of where that works into the game and your character. So we'll start the other way around this time. HP Fox, any of those vices jumping out at you for your character?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with pleasure. It just makes sense that somebody that used to travel with pirates would indulge in that sort of thing anytime they made port somewhere.
Okay. And is there a particular pleasure that you kind of indulge in? Is it the brothels, or is it gluttony, or what?
The purveyor that I went with, excuse me, was Roland Valeris, who I assume runs like a social club and night market type of thing. So just kind of that whole...
The whole just kind of...
indulging in anything and everything, essentially.
Okay, so just kind of pushing everything to excess, being very hedonistic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Max?
Gambling.
Gambling? All right, is there a particular game of chance that is your character's kind of vice?
Probably the riskier the better.
So like Russian
Like,
roulette?
Yeah. The ones that could hurt you.
All right, so let's see. If you're actually at a gambling house, though, you sit down at a table. What are you looking to play? Is it poker? Are you gonna play blackjack or craps?
Probably do better with blackjack.
Blackjack. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So she's definitely a card player then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but she won't pass up. Like if somebody's outside with a game of cups going, she'd probably stop and play that too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Rojan.
I'm going to go luxury.
Okay. So you're gonna show off the wealth that you make from your scores and your jobs.
Oh yeah, like constantly, like no matter what, always, basically being dressed.
To the nines.
Yeah, I was gonna say dressed to the tens, but yeah, dressed to the nines in like 24/7.
Okay. So he's always got a very nicely tailored suit, whatnot.
Yeah, they're always like custom tailored clothes.
Okay.
Like he wouldn't be caught dead buying anything off a rack.
Well,
So-
I know who I'm borrowing money from for my vices.
Sounds good. All right. So we've got everybody's.
Yeah, there you
vices
go. No, Rollers got it to the 20s.
To the 20s.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got everybody's vices at that point. I think we're just about done. Let me see. Where's the thing I was looking at earlier? And this is. And we also have to do a little bit for your crew creation as well, because there's things like turf and whatnot. All right. So yeah. So the last thing here we have is record your name, alias, and your look. So I'm gonna Panzer. I'm just gonna keep starting with you because since you have most of this filled out already, I think.
Yeah. So name is Weaver Rowan. Alias is Gunner. Look, I went with male, athletic, and stern. Scars from battle because I mean he's a vet basically. So yeah, pretty straightforward in terms of like being, you know, what he is and the description of him to kind of match that.
Okay. So you got any prominent scars that would be like memorable for somebody just like
big
passing
one.
them?
A big one on his like from the bottom of his jaw up to the his temple.
Okay.
Would be like the most prominent one, and then the rest of his body has numerous ones just over it, but
Okay.
that would be the most visible one.
So is this one like curving around his skull or like going through the eye socket?
Curving around.
Okay. Left or right side? Sorry. This is right side?
Right side.
Okay. All right. So we've got a big scar. Does it look jagged or does it look like it was made with a pretty clean blade?
Pretty jagged.
Okay.
Like an explosion kind of went off and
Some shrapnel or something?
yeah, shrapnel kind of mutilated that side.
All right. Got it. All right. So I started with HP Fox last time. Rojan, what do you have for name, alias, and kind of your aesthetic for your character?
The look is just something we go off of, right?
Yeah.
Like just we create it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my character's name is Arden Locke. Don't have an alias yet. I'm still thinking of one.
Okay.
So and as like I said previously, the whole luxury thing. My character is like pretty much dressed to the nines at all times, well kept and clean. Tries to look as much like almost like some of the higher class
Okay.
than he actually is. Sort of like something he's trying to dodge his past in the like on the streets when he was younger. He doesn't really have any scars or anything like that. It doesn't. If you were to look at him, it doesn't look like he would be somebody that you would find on like a battlefield or anything of the sort.
Okay.
Though he does always seem to have a very mischievous look, like he's plotting something in his eyes.
All right. See, does he have a trinket that he always keeps on him, like a pocket watch or anything like that?
Yeah, a very ornate pocket watch.
Okay. All right. Max?
Her name is Saren Mara. She goes by Crow. Woman, she's fairly calm, she doesn't look like much is gonna rattle her. She's pretty fair. She's fair complected, doesn't have any visible scars or anything. She despite her background, doesn't look like she's seen much action. The things that stand out about her is she dons a black long coat, and because of her eyes, she wears dark purple tinted glasses, and she claims that she has a light sensitivity problem, which is why she wears it.
Okay, so she kind of hides her blacked out eyes.
Yeah.
All right, and these are goggles, you said?
Either goggles or whichever is going to actually make the most sense in here, but either the dark tinted sunglasses or something akin to that, yeah.
Okay.
But she always has them on.
Okay. And HP Fox.
Coming as no surprise to anybody that's played D&D with me, I'm playing a female character. Her name is Aylin Seville, and her alias is just Shadow. Seems fitting. She's pretty average height. She's got a bit of a lithe build, something you'd expect from somebody with her profession. She's pale, pretty average, shoulder-length brown hair, amber eyes. She's always wearing like hooded cloak-type clothing, anything that she can use to kind of conceal herself if she needs to. But other than that, no real obvious marks or anything visible. Just average looking.
Okay. All right, so that is you guys' character. Now, if you look at the top of your character sheet over where your playbook name is, so like your lurk or your hound or whatever, there's a button there that says character mode. If you hit that, it'll switch over to crew mode.
Oh, are we gonna do items?
Wow.
So the items are just kind of like the items work differently for this. It's kind of like you tell me what you're taking.
Okay.
And as long as it's not something, insane like, oh, I'm going to take this Gatling gun off of that's normally mounted on a Leviathan hunter, then I'll go, sure, that's fine.
Okay, makes sense.
So the crew sheet is kind of where we deal with a lot of the fallout and the aftermath of your scores. Things like your heat level, your vault, how much money you have in your vault, if you're actually wanted, what your reputation is, how big your turf has gotten, stuff along those lines. You can kind of get crew abilities that kind of help everybody as a group out as well. So you guys have decided that you're going to take a crew that is a Assassin's Guild. So that's great. We've already got that kind of covered and out of the way. And I believe if you update on one, I believe it updates on all of the sheets. So I'm going to test that out real quick. I'm updating HP Fox's with 2 coin in his crew. Can the rest of you guys see that?
Not yet. Let me bow out and back again. No, I don't see a change.
Okay. So I'll have to make sure that those match. I'll pick one person's sheet to modify that on, and then I'll come back in our off time and update it for everybody. All right. Let's see. So we got the Assassin's crew out of the way. You guys start with 2 coin. So coin is a little bit of a misnomer. A single coin is usually enough to buy a house.
Is this in the crew or is that with us?
That's just the coin in general in the world. So the term coin is a large sum of money. So if somebody says, yeah, I'll pay you 1 coin to do that job, that's a large sum of money. Normally, what you carry around on you are like silver slugs or silver pieces. But yeah, usually a coin is kind of a good bit of money that you would be carrying around with you, enough to buy probably like a dilapidated house. Is about what a coin goes for now. And you guys start out with 0 rep because you're a new crew in the area, so you guys don't have any rep with you yet. So now we need to kind of pick out where you guys feel like what's your initial kind of, as you begin to work, how you want to be perceived. So there's a couple of different options. We've got ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, and strange.
Oh, I saw that in the book. What page is that on?
That is on page 93.
93. Going to 93. It's 95.
Oh, little scroll wheel, he can do it.
I would think professional or possibly subtle, given our kind of like overall mixture of classes that we have.
I like subtle.
Yeah, I'd agree with either professional or subtle.
Like maybe a combination.
Okay. So it sounds like I think I heard subtle from everybody, whereas professional I think I heard 3 out of 4. So we'll start off with subtle, and as you guys kind of work, then maybe you pick up a professional reputation as well. So these are definitely things that you can pick up as you go. All right, let's see. So the next question becomes, where do you guys want to work out of? So the area that you're in, there's a lot of abandoned buildings. You could, if you want to do something just as generic as like an abandoned manor, we can do something like that. Or if you want to do something a little bit more specific, like an abandoned cathedral or something along those lines, those are options too. It's kind of this is really like flavor text for you guys at this point.
We're in like 6 towers, right? So I mean, there's numerous towers around.
Yep.
What do you guys think about setting up in one of those? If it's in disrepair or vacant.
I like it.
Hey, what they don't know won't get us in trouble.
Okay, so you guys want to take a like a dilapidated tower as your crew, or as your layer rather. All right. So with that, probably you're looking at a place that likely doesn't have electricity running to it, just because a lot of these towers have fallen decades ago. And you probably get maybe the first and second floor of that. If it's been abandoned for that long, I'm thinking probably the roof is collapsed in and caved in. How's that sounding to you guys still?
Sounds legit.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Place to start.
I mean, it also fits like the subtle nature of our crew. We wouldn't stand out anywhere.
All right. I'm just making notes on one of the character sheets, and I'll come back later. All right. So now your hunting grounds. This is kind of where you guys excel at working. And I'm thinking because you're starting in 6 towers, that's probably kind of the area that you guys are the most familiar with. And this is probably where you want to get yourselves established.
Makes sense, yeah.
Maybe branch out into other areas of Duskwall later on.
Just to bring this up on the PDF, it's page 262. You can see a map of Duskwall.
Yeah.
And so 6 towers is kind of on the right-hand side, so the easternmost area.
Yeah, so you guys, one of the things about 6 towers is that you are right there along the border. So the lightning towers are something that you guys probably see rising up over the rooftops of the houses that are left in the area. The light from it and the crackling kind of sounds from the lightning towers are stuff that you kind of finally grew accustomed to. Probably took you a little while after first getting into that area, but now it's something that, like, if you're in an area that doesn't have lightning towers like right next to it anymore, you notice it. All right, and then we need to get a special ability, which I need to find where those are for crews. Oh, assassins. All right. All right, so we've got a couple of different special abilities for assassins. If you guys want to take a look at it, it is on page 102. So we've got the options for Deadly, which allows each character can add a +1 dice to their hunt, prowl, or skirmish rolls. Or sorry, that's an action rating. That's not a roll. So you get 1 point basically in one of those 3. And you can pick which one you want to put that point into. Crow's Veil basically means that your activities are hidden from the sight of the Deathseeker crows. So when you guys kill somebody, the bell doesn't ring. A crow doesn't come and circle the body. And just like thank you. And it allows you guys. You don't take as much heat when you do a score that involves a murder. Let's see what else we have. Ember Death. You guys know a method to kill a victim's spirit at the moment that you kill them. You take 3 stress, and you end up having to channel the electroplasmic energy from the ghost field, and just kind of disintegrates that spirit in the body. And so that allows you guys to, what does that do for you? Trying to see what the actual like mechanic benefit of that is. Doesn't look like one. It looks like it just kind of the spirit disintegrates in the body. Which, if if a body's not properly dealt with, the spirit could come back and be pretty mad at you guys. So I guess it avoids that. Let's see. No traces. When you keep an operation quiet or make it look like an accident, you get half of the rep value instead of 0. So you get a little bit of rep for a job well done, and you take and you also get more rep if you end your downtime with no heat. So if the crew kind of works together to remove all the heat from you guys, then you get some reputation for that as well. Patron is when you guys advance a tier, it costs you half the coin that it normally would. So you guys start at tier 0, and kind of as you work and as you take on jobs, as your reputation increases, your tier kind of increases as well. And so that costs you a little bit less to increase the tier. The tier gives you access to like better lodging, better equipment, things along those lines. Predators is when you guys use stealth or deception to plan, or a stealth or deception plan to commit a murder, you get an extra dice on the engagement roll. So that helps you kind of, if you guys want to be a little bit more sneaky about things, kind of gives you some encouragement to work that way. And then the last one is Vipers. When you acquire or craft poisons, you get a +1 result level to your roll. So if you rolled a 4, it would be a 5 instead when you use poisons. And you are specifically, you're also immune to the effects of the poison that you're using. Any of those jumping out at you guys? There's some good options in there.
There's a lot of really good options.
Deadly and Crow's Veil are probably my top 2 picks.
I definitely like Crow's Veil.
Yeah, same here.
Veil, No Traces were my 2 because, I mean, as a subtlety assassin crew, I mean, those 2 kind of make sense. Crow's Veil, definitely, because we're killing somebody, we don't get the extra heat.
All right. Sounds like Crow's Veil it is. I will throw that into the character sheet for you guys. I think we're pretty much done with what we need to do. I'm going to skip over the claims for you guys just because we're not going to be playing long enough for you guys to really get into those mechanics. Unfortunately. But this is one of those systems that I think maybe we come back to later.
Oh yeah.
I think it's probably going to end up being.
Haven't even played, and this already sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Right?
So the way that rolls work in Blades in the Dark is it's a kind of a dice pool system. So you will roll, and however many ticks you have in the action ability, that's how many dice you'll roll, and you take the higher result. A 1, 2, or 3 is a failure, just kind of an outright failure.
Okay.
4 and 5 is a success with complications. So you did it, but things didn't quite go the way you wanted them to. And then a 6 is a success. And a crit is if you roll multiple 6s. And that's the mechanic for everything. So it's real straightforward as far as how you settle kind of that. The other thing is that's different from like...
I'll be right back. Somebody's at my door.
All right. The other thing that is different from D&D is instead of me going, hey, I need you to roll me a perception check, it's you telling me what action you're using to get the result that you want. So if you're trying to get something, to get somebody to agree with you, depending on how you're doing it, you can tell me, well, I'm swaying them to by using my words, and then you roll sway. Or if maybe your command is a little bit better, you like, I command them to do this, and then you roll a command. So you tell me what you're using. And then depending on the situation, there are 3 kind of modifiers for the roll. It can either be a controlled roll, which is just a very kind of a normal roll. It can be a risky roll, where you're in a situation where if it goes poorly, like maybe something bad happens. And then there's the option for a desperate roll, where you're really trying to push your character over and above what their normal strengths are. And so if you make a desperate roll, you automatically get a point of XP in that kind of heading. So you have the insight heading, the prowess setting, and the resolve setting. So if you make a desperate roll, you get a point in that. And when those fill up, you take those and you put them into a point in one of the abilities under that heading. Does that make sense, or did I kind of explain that stupidly?
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Other than that, I think we need to come up with a reason on why you guys are together. So we've got a pirate, we have a street urchin, we have a former soldier, and we have Rojan. You were, I'm trying to remember.
Underground.
Kind of. What brought you guys together? Does anybody have any thoughts? I mean, I can throw stuff out, but I want you guys to. If you guys can come up with something.
I always like the situations where it's almost a stroke of fate that we were brought together.
Okay.
Like we were, like the first time we met, we were all brought on for the same job, and we all realized that we
work well together.
We seem to work very well together. So in the sense of business and self-preservation, we have stuck together throughout the years.
Okay. All right, so you guys have done some jobs together before in the past, then it sounds like, and you're comfortable and familiar enough with each other that you've all begun living in this kind of secret lair. You've set it up to where there was a door on the outside of the tower that you guys have kind of put a faux kind of brick up that you can move out of the way and get into your lair, so that it's kind of hidden from normal view. You guys can kind of come and go as you please there. And where do you normally finding your jobs? You guys think that people are coming to you? People aren't coming to you really yet, because this is you're just getting started. So maybe does anybody frequent a tavern? I guess
that would be me.
Yeah, I guess
I would be the alcoholic of the group.
Yeah. I would if there's gambling involved.
Okay. So I think what we're going to do is one night, Gunnar, you go out drinking, and there's always a job board in this tavern. There's always jobs posted for needing this smuggled, needing this person removed, what have you. And so one night it's raining, and you get particularly plastered. And the next morning you wake up back in your lair, and you find kind of this piece of paper that you don't remember having with you, sticking out of your pocket as you wake up. And let me see which one this one would be. You unfold it and you look at it, and it says Volette Bowden needs workers for discreet removal. And removal is the kind of language for an assassination job. And it's got kind of her contact information on it, and it's a rundown house that you're pretty familiar with. You've seen people kind of arrive and leave shortly thereafter, kind of over and over, and you get the feeling like, all right, there's probably something going on in this house. And it's not far from kind of where you are. It's a couple of blocks over, a little bit closer to the lightning fence than you guys are. Is that something you're gonna kind of go investigate on your own, or is this something you want to take with the crew with you?
That would be something I would probably investigate on my own.
Okay. So you're just gonna go to the address that's listed kind of on the job posting?
To kind of feel it out, see what it is, kind of scope out the area. I mean, I'd have my dog with me, my hunting pet.
Okay.
And then just kind of like scope it out, see if it's on the up and up, or if it's, another crew trying to lure me somewhere that I shouldn't be.
Okay. So,
Would that be a survey roll?
No, I don't think you really need anything for it. They're not really hiding anything. So you're walking the dog. Is the dog got a name?
I'll name it Poe. No, I'm just kidding.
To be fair, Poe is a good dog's name.
Poe would be a good dog's name. Forbes. I named the dog Forbes.
Forbes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're taking Forbes out, and you guys are walking, and you see people kind of go in, and you get a very distinct smell comes from this house, and it's something that you probably witnessed quite a bit of in your war, and it's the smell of Black Lotus, which is this drug that you smoke, and it kind of gives this sense of euphoria and also provides kind of visions.
Okay.
So definitely in the medical ward, this was probably used to treat a lot of injuries and sedate a lot of soldiers. So it's something that you're familiar with the smell of it, and it's a very distinct smell that you kind of get coming from this house.
It's an opium den.
Pretty much.
Right?
That's basically what I was going for.
At this point, I would probably send the dog to gather the rest of the crew, because I mean, like you said, it doesn't seem like a place that would be in imminent danger. They're offering us a job. I mean, the opium den portion of it would kind of entice me to go in without them having like prior experience with that.
Okay.
But I would still think at that point it'd be like, well, we're getting offered something, so I should round up everybody, because kind of scoping it out, around that area, it wouldn't be like an actual dangerous place, but we should all come together and decide if that would be, a job we'd want to take.
Okay. All right. So you guys back at the lair. Sorry, I lost the dog's name. I wanted to say Poe, and I know that wasn't what we did.
Forbes.
The dog's been
Forbes.
named. We're stuck.
There we go. So Forbes comes back. Does he have a particular method of like trying to get everybody's attention, Panzer, or is it just really like running up and barking?
Running up barking.
All right. So you guys that are back at the lair, you hear Forbes run in with a rather distinctive bark, the one that he uses when he's trying to get your attention.
I have a very important question.
Sure.
What type of dog is Forbes?
I figured it'd be a larger dog, like a Mastiff or a Rottweiler.
Okay, I like it.
As long as it's not a Yorkie, because it's getting punted.
Yeah,
Right?
I was just expecting like this little small breed of dog,
It's
like a
poor
corgi,
Yorkie.
like a corgi
I would
coming
love
in.
to have a corgi, but not in this world.
Assassin corgi.
It's a dire corgi.
Oh God.
There we go
Those
again.
little legs, though, the short legs of the massive body.
All right, so this mastiff comes in. He's got I assume a pretty loud bark to get you guys' attention.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Max.
I'm just gonna make some random "is Timmy in a well" crack as I start getting my stuff together. And anybody that, God forbid, did not hear the dog bark, I smack them awake.
All right.
Or to attention.
I let out a sigh and put down a like a nice teacup that I was drinking from onto the table as I walk over and begin to gather my things, as I know that the dog is once again summoning us for a job.
HP Fox?
I've just been standing by the door, just kind of leaning against the wall, waiting for something to come our way, so I'm already ready to go.
All right. So you guys follow Forbes. He leads you. It's a good couple of blocks. It's evening. You guys can kind of smell the salt out of the Ink Sea off to the east of kind of where you are. And it's beginning to rain just a little bit, and you meet back up with Gunnar. Would you say you're probably still about a house away, or did you move closer, Panzer?
I would start moving closer.
Okay. So you guys meet up with Gunnar, and you're out right outside, kind of on the landing of this house. And those of you that are familiar with Black Lotus recognize the smell as well. You have people that are kind of moving past you. They don't make eye contact. They just kind of move into the house. They don't knock or anything. Just kind of open the door and kind of walk in. You guys just following suit, or how are you approaching it?
That's my vote.
How are the people like? What do the people look like? Do they just look like your everyday run-of-the-mill citizen, or do they seem to be carrying anything?
So the people that are going in are a mix. You've got some people that are definitely part of the lower class of the city that you've seen squatting in houses and buildings, and you've got others that that are of a little bit higher purchase in the area, and this is kind of where the melting pot of the Six Towers district is this house, because everybody that's coming there is coming there to feed the same thing.
I look over at the rest of the group, and then back down towards the people walking in, and I'm like, I don't know about, normally I wouldn't say this about you lot, but all of us are too overdressed to fit in with that lot down there. We may stand out if we just walk right in.
Well, I would hate to get your shoes dirty. Come on, fancy pants.
Right. My guy's a former soldier,
It's
so
like,
I wouldn't think he'd be like that well dressed.
He puts up his hands like, I'm not making a brash comment about your clothing. All I was saying is we would stand out like a sore thumb down there.
Well, if you like, I could always smudge you up.
It just gives you like a don't you fucking dare scowl. Is there a back entrance that we may be able to slip in through?
Yeah. So there is a back entrance to the house. It's not really guarded per se. The back end. Well, let me rephrase that. The front entrance isn't really guarded. The back entrance is a little different because you're kind of coming into this house where people may be vulnerable and susceptible. So the back entrance has a guard kind of standing post. He's a rather tall, bulky. Trying to think of the word. I can't remember the rest of his name. He's a tall guy. He's probably standing about 6'5". Probably weighs about 310 and all of it muscle.
Damn.
Just standing by the back door. He looks at you. He's like, yes.
I look over to our good ex-soldier friend with a he's an all yours look on my face.
I would approach the
Go
guy
get him.
and just like show him the scar on my face and like, you know, nod my head like, is this where I'm supposed to be going in?
He says, round the other way for entrances.
Okay.
Oh, so is this exit only?
Exit only, apparently. So
Well,
with
it
that,
is the back
I
door.
would suggest that we go through the front. Like, I mean, as somebody who's been around, you know, people who have been treated with the Black Lotus before, I'd say that, yeah, let's go. Let's go through the front. I mean, whoever's going to be in there, they're going to be high. So
It's a fair point. Okay, let's go in through the front.
So have we been given the specifics of why we're actually here? Like when we arrived with Forbes, did you fill us in on what's going down?
I included the note on his collar saying what the job was, the location.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I guess that's a secure system to deliver a message. I don't think anybody's just going to try to pull something off a random Rottweiler walking down the street.
Right?
Yeah, you can have it. I'm gonna keep walking.
I'd like to keep my hand today, thank you.
All right. So you guys work your way back around to the front of the house and throw the door open, and the smell of Black Lotus kind of washes over you, a lot harsher than it was standing outside of the house. And looking in, it's a dimly lit house, and you've got a lot of people that are just kind of laid out on pillows and stoned out of their minds. People are passing around the mouthpiece for like a hookah. A couple of people have their own like pipes that they're smoking out of, but they're just falling on top of everybody. It's just kind of become a big pile of passed out people. And you've got people there that smell like they haven't showered in 3 months, and you have people in there that are made up in their best attire. Like I said, it's really just kind of everybody from every walk of life comes here from Six Towers.
I'm gonna scowl and cover my nose and mouth with my cloak.
Okay.
I'm right there with
Yeah,
her.
I-
Like, woof.
Oh, I've got I have a fine handkerchief over my face, just walking through, like shooting the more well dressed people a very disappointed look.
Okay.
Put my scarf up over my face.
And you guys hear a voice from the back room kind of discussing payment arrangements with another voice that you can't quite make out, but it's an elderly lady's voice. She's probably in her late 50s, early 60s from the sound of her voice. And you guys that have, because you've been in the area for a while, you know that this is, I gotta get the name back up here, hang on. This is Volette, and she is the one that runs kind of the Black Lotus house here. And you may have had dealings with her if you've ever had to pick up some Black Lotus or have ever tried it out. If your character's ever tried it out, you've probably dealt with her if you did it in the Six Towers area. So she's a kind of a prominent community figure for what's left of the community in your region.
And her name, you said her name is Volette?
It is Volette Bowden.
Philip Bowden. Is this like, you said it was kind of a meeting ground for everybody, like all classes and stuff? Is it also kind of like a neutral territory as well?
It is. So she's worked it out with the Bluecoats and the other gangs in the area that this is. They all know that Volette's house is off limits because they know if they get on Volette's bad side, they won't be in the area for very much longer.
Okay.
And she looks. So she's kind of back in the back of the house in a room that's got this kind of. It's a beaded curtain, more just so that she can keep an eye on the house while still maintaining some sense of privacy than for decoration. So it's just kind of a plain wood It's definitely seen better days. There's sections missing out of it. There's some strings missing, or some strings that have beads that don't reach all the way to the bottom. And you can see kind of her sitting, leaned back in a chair, feet kind of propped up on a desk, talking with someone from the back looks as though he's probably in his 30s or 40s. His hair is just kind of starting to gray a little bit, dressed in a very kind of worn overcoat that's starting to tatter around the shoulders and the sleeves.
How would we like to introduce ourselves?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what was the name of our target again? Did we get that?
No,
No,
so
I
this,
just woke up
Oh, okay.
and there's a note there to say to come to that house.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would snap my fingers and Forbes would let out a loud, deep bark to kind of just announce us there while we're in the front.
Forbes is our face man.
okay.
Forbes is our face man.
So the people in the room where you guys are at don't stir at all. If they heard Forbes, they either are too stoned to react or just don't know what they heard. Volette doesn't really react other than to give you kind of this slow head turn to kind of peer around the shoulder of the person that she was speaking with. He, on the other hand, jumps about a mile high, like somebody shot a gun right beside his head. He stands up, and the chair that he was in, like falling backwards quickly and kind of clattering to the floor. And he kind of readjusts himself, calms himself down, and you can see him kind of reach over and place a bag on the desk in front of Volette as he picks something else up off the desk and turns and walks pretty quickly past you guys and out the front door. And then you can hear Volette call from the back room, you can come in.
I would start walking into the room, standing still, but I wouldn't go like sit down in the chair. I'd kind of just post up, lean up against the wall.
You probably tangled in it.
Right?
Just precautionary.
All right, the rest of you, are you staying back, or are you joining Gunnar?
I would follow in after him.
Yeah, I'd follow in too, but I would kind of stop in the entrance to that area or that room and just kind of hang out right there.
Are you sure we're not the same person?
We may
I
very
was
well
gonna-
be.
No, because I was going to say, I'm going to stop kind of close to the doorway, close enough in that I can still hear the discussion, but close enough out that if we need to make an exit because this is a setup, I can give a forewarning kind of thing.
Well, to be fair, you and I are kind of the back end of the party, so...
Because we're girls. I blame the dog.
The class is definitely like much more subtle than a guy who shoots things with a dog.
You shoot them with a dog?
Shoot them
Yeah.
and has a dog.
He loads
Dog-handed.
the dog in like a small handheld launcher, just launches him at people.
All right, so as you guys make your way into the room, she almost doesn't look up from something she's kind of going over in her hand, and then she takes a second glance at Gunnar. She says, "Haven't seen you in here before. Is this your first time for the Lotus?"
I would take the note and just set it on the table next to the bag that's still there, unless she's taking it.
So the bag's still there, and she kind of looks over, peers up over over her feet at the desk and sees the note, and she goes, "Oh, you're here for that. That makes much more sense."
I just did the Tom Hardy grunt, like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seeing as how Gunnar is the one who got the note, I am going to remain silent for this one.
Okay.
Though I'm like, as they're having a conversation and grunting at one another, I'm just like slowly casing the room over, just making a mental note of everything that she's got, see if anything catches my interest.
Okay. And there are a few things that catch your interest. She's definitely gotten some trinkets, probably as trade from some of the wealthier people that come to visit her. So there's a bust there that's you recognize as being part of a very kind of limited set that was carved by this renowned artist. And then there's there's like pocket watches and a couple of flasks that are kind of embroidered with ivory and leather and just look, real nice. That are just kind of sitting almost in piles on the shelves. But she looks up at Gunnar and she says, so you're here for the removal?
I just nod my head.
She says, I have a, well, let's call him an acquaintance. Name is Thorn. And he, he's been causing some issues with some of my other suppliers. See, Lotus is good and all for 6 Towers, but I want to branch out. I want to have my fingers in all of Duskwall. And Thorn has a pretty tight grip on the spirit essence trade. And I'd like his grip to be, loosened completely. But I don't need this traced back to me. So that's what I'm looking for.
I would look over at Magpie's character, because she's more knowledgeable in that stuff than I would be for like spirit essence and trading, and like see what her opinion of that would be.
Yeah.
She says,
And
"Oh,
we'll make sure."
when Gunnar kind of turns to, I will remember names at some point. When she turns to Crow, or when he turns to Crow, she looks at Crow and says, "Oh, perfect, because I also need this to look like it was occult related, a ghost gone mad, some cult that he had maybe had bad dealings with, that kind of thing."
Letty, you sure can pick 'em.
I would see what the payout is and what exactly, like how influential he is, and ask about like the actual background of this guy other than he's a dealer for this substance.
Okay. So how are you phrasing that to her?
I would ask, so if he's new in town, so is this a new dealer in town? And then with that, how much is this paying?
She says, "No.
What kind of connections he has?"
Thorn has been here for quite some time. It's just time for him to move on. As far as payment, it shouldn't be terribly difficult. She picks the bag up off the desk that the gentleman left there, and she weighs it, and she says, "Let's call this 2 coin."
I would look over at the rest of the crew and kind of nod my head and like, this sounds good to me. 2 coins good amount
It's a
That's 2
significant
shabby
amount.
houses.
for an easy job, quote unquote.
She says, "You'll find Thorn out by the docks. He tends to sell his wares there to the Leviathan crews and to any that may come in from the Dagger Isles."
Two coins quite a bit. I say half up front, rest when the job's done.
She thinks for a minute, and she's like, "Half up front, the rest when the job's done, and you all stick around and try some Lotus."
I would decline the offer for the Lotus. I take that.
Same here.
The
Yeah,
half,
so
the
would
one
I.
coin.
I need a clear head to work.
Well,
Not afraid to.
There's no timetable on this. It doesn't need to be tonight. You have time to enjoy yourselves.
I would state we have other business to attend to. Snap my fingers, and then Forbes would start walking out of the room, and I'd follow him.
And
Dog's
just
point, man.
casually whisper over to Fancy Pants. It's like, don't worry, Lotus doesn't stain. And just
I
walk
know
out.
that.
HP Fox,
Just mumbling to
how
myself.
are you feeling about that offer?
One mistake in a mission, and all of a sudden.
I just shake my head like as soon as she made that offer. There's no way I'm getting involved in that. But I wouldn't leave the room until everybody else has.
She says, fine. 2 coin. Actually, roll me, sorry, Panzer, roll me a sway roll. We'll call it risky and standard outcome.
All right, so for a sway roll would be /roll.
Nope, yeah, you're going to have to do it from your character sheet for this one.
Click
I
on
think you just click on sway.
Yeah,
and
you
it'll
just
bring
click
up
on it.
Sway, okay.
Yeah,
And you said
an
risky,
option
right?
pops up.
Yep. And so if you have none in an ability like Panzer does for sway, what happens at that point is you roll 2 and you take the lowest.
Okay. And is the effect standard, I take it?
It is a standard effect.
Bonus die 0, dice 3, and 1.
So 1. So either way, it's a failure. All right. So she's not. She's pretty much just. She calls after you and she goes, 2 coin, walking out the door.
No, I said before that I accepted the offer of 2.
Oh, okay.
2 with half up front, sorry.
With half up front.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So she was giving you the option of doing that as long as you guys kind of stuck around for the Lotus. But if you're not going
okay.
to, then she's going to pay you when the job's complete.
So obviously I can't sway her.
So we can redo this because I should have actually said a couple of things before you made that roll. You can push yourself on that sway. You'll take 2 stress if you do that, and that gives you an extra dice. So then you'd roll 1 and you'd take whatever its result was. So you wouldn't be looking for the lowest result there. Or you can have somebody help you, and they would take 1 stress. And then you can also do something what's called a bargain with the devil, where you get an extra dice, but I say, but if you take this extra dice, you also have to do this. So in this case, devil's bargain for this would be only one of you has to stick around for the Lotus instead of the whole group. So if you want to re-roll that and maybe take some stress or take that devil's bargain, you can.
How about
I would jump in my sway, but this is all you.
Yeah, and so I mean, throwing somebody else under stress, I would probably say that I'll stay. The rest of the crew gets the coin, and then I'll be the one who's there for however long.
Okay. So go ahead and do a re-roll, and I think there's an option on the sheet for Devil's Bargain. Hang on, let me look. Yeah, you've got the bonus dice at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So you would get 1 bonus dice. So re-roll your sway, and it should come up and ask for bonus dice, and just add 1.
Same risky standard bonus dice 1.
Yep. There you go. So the 6. So that's perfect. So we'll go with that one, and that's a success. And in which case she goes, okay, just you stay since you took the Devil's Bargain. The rest of you can leave, and I'll give you half now.
Okay. I'm keeping my dog with me though.
She says that he's more than welcome. I just enjoy
Well,
having.
he might like them.
Besides, I enjoy having a little bit more sober company. He can stay by my side and keep me company.
Okay.
All right. So with that, she pulls a drawer out of her desk, reaches in, grabs a bag, and you can see her kind of toss it in her hand and weigh it a little bit before she tosses it to Gunner. She says, "There's your half up front."
All right, and I would hand that back to HB Fox.
Okay. And then she kind of waves her hand at the rest of the group very kind of dismissively, like, on your way. And then she reaches down and pulls out this small kind of mortar and pestle that she kind of grinds up some of the Black Lotus in front of you and begins to kind of pack it into a pipe that she hands to you.
Did she slide the pipe on the table, or did she actually try to hand it to me?
She slid it across the table.
She slid it across the table. I just let it sit there.
Okay. And you're not going to partake. You're just going to hang out and sober.
I'm just going to hang out.
All right, and get to talk to her a little bit. All right, that's cool. She's all right.
Drinking is my vice.
Is this something that you're letting her know?
No.
So you wouldn't
Just
mention
that
anything
I know.
about a drink to her or anything?
No.
Okay. All right, so you hang out for a couple of hours, and she really, like, you guys talk and chit chat, and you kind of get to know each other a little bit better. And you, like, as it turns out that she doesn't use any of her own drugs or any of that, and she actually, like, kind of keeps herself well maintained, and it's really just this is how she's making her living and making her money.
Mm-hmm. Could I ask her why she's trying to get into dealing with the what was it? The thing
spirit?
that the other guys, the spirit
essence. Yeah, she'll talk to you about it, and she really just says it's another market. It's another place that I can make more coin. This is trying to branch out. I abhor the fact that I'm having to surround myself with these people all day, every day to make my money, and I'm looking to branch out in my trades. And as you guys talk, with that 6, I'll give you this too. She gives you kind of a little bit more information about Thorn. She gives you his description. She says he opens his stand around 8 a.m. every morning down on the docks. If he can find a new Leviathan hunter that is pulled into port, then that's generally where he will set up his shop and his stand to peddle his wares. Because people coming back from port have coin to spend, or people coming into port have coin to spend.
Okay.
And she gives you kind of a quick description of him. He says he always has this tri-corner hat, trying to pass himself off as a sailor, but he's never spent a day aboard a ship. And so she gives you some identifying details.
And he says shop at 8 a.m. Tri-corner hat, tries to pass it up as a sailor, and he's trying to sell goods to newly arrived sailors.
Yep.
Who are reporting. Okay. All right.
I need to check one thing about the area he's in real quick. So that might be an area that's more heavily guarded than you guys are used to. I'm not sure. I need to check. So that's what I'm checking real quick.
Hey, Imp.
Yeah.
It looks like the rolls and everything on the stream itself is a little off to the left.
Oh yeah, you're right. Let me grab that real quick. Hang on. I'll fix that. Thank you.
We're helping.
Occasionally.
I try to be a help. I mean, sometimes it just makes it worse.
There we go. I think that's about where we want that. Cool.
Mind if I run to the bathroom real quick?
No, in fact, let's take a quick 5-minute break. We're in our second hour now, so we can go ahead and take a fast 5-minute break.
Sweet.
And we will be right back. Folks that are hanging out watching, thanks. We really do appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
I'm so glad this dog is not named Beauregard.
I was going to suggest it.
Don't you kill my dog.
Beauregard.
Don't you kill my dog, Fox.
The second you said Mastiff, I was like, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, like it just right off my head. I almost suggested calling it Beauregard.
Shit. All right, I'll be right back.
So I'm already.
items, not like the find one slot stuff or the regular stuff, but like a blade or two, throwing knives, a pistol, that kind of stuff. Did anybody check off any of those for their characters?
I did, and then I wrote it in for the items.
All right, we're back. Hi,
Yeah, we
everybody.
didn't cover items that much, so I didn't know exactly what to do with that.
Yeah, so the items are kind of like when you guys start a score or are getting ready to kind of prep for the score. That's really where we kind of pick that part up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. How's everybody enjoying Blades in the Dark so far?
I quite like it, although I've
like
kind
the
of
setting.
had to remain silent so far.
It sounded like you said I quit at the beginning. I was like, really?
Yeah.
You don't like it
I
that much?
quit.
I'm out.
Really
Done.
just
I was
not
like,
like
I
it at all.
quite like it.
I quit. I want out.
All right, so you guys have picked up a job from Volette, and Gunnar has spent the remainder of the day hanging out, getting to know a little bit more about Volette, and because so he has gotten a little bit more information on your target as well. The conditions around the job are that the death needs to look like it was involved with the occult in some way, shape, or form. So you've got the job, or you guys? I guess you guys are probably meeting back up at your lair to discuss methods on how you want to approach this.
Yeah, at the very least, I'm going back there to stash away half the payment that we received.
Okay. So we go ahead and add. So you're stashing that away for the whole crew.
Yeah.
All right. So I will add another coin to your crew's sheet there. All right. So you've got a location and a target, and how you guys
And the
want to
time
approach?
description of them too.
Yep. How you guys want to approach
So-
this?
I'd go back, describe that. Okay, so he's a tricorner. He wears a tricorner hat. He sets up shop at 8. Tries to pass off as a sailor and sells to people who are porting at that time. And the death needs to look at Colt, so everybody's all filled in on that info. And so, since my guy's not that familiar with the occult, I would probably let Crow or Aelin
That works.
come up with a couple ideas.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with them myself. I think that's going to be probably the most difficult part of this, is making it look like they were responsible in some way.
Well, now that mics are back on, I'll re-explain my little idea. But the idea that I had, since my character is able to use Tempest, I can sweep in a fog to create a diversion. And since we're right on the waterfront, it wouldn't be all of that outlandish. It's just a little bit of an unpredictable weather change causing a heavy fog to roll in. Meaning we would be able to get in closer with a little bit less attention drawn to us. Now, me personally, not my character, but me personally, I'm a little confused as to how a lot of this stuff is going to work to make it look like the occult was involved, because like I said, it's a new system, so I'm still trying to kind of figure it out. But if we end up flubbing that for whatever reason, we could always make it look like it was a deal gone bad with one of the sailors.
All right. So you guys are kind of got a little bit of a plan in place. Kind of make it look like this eerie fog welled up around him a bit, and then maybe if you can get it enough to kind of obstruct his view, then have somebody slip in and take care of him, and then have the fog roll back out.
Yeah.
I pipe in. Now, Crow, how exactly would one of these occults deal with somebody who's crossed them? Would it be just a simple knife in the back?
Probably would send a feral unrested spirit to deal with him. Because they wouldn't want their hands dirtied by it. And
So, would it be
may-
better for us to make it look like a spook got him?
I'm gonna go with yes.
But whether or not that's actually achievable is a different story.
It should be. I just have to ask an old friend a favor. A little bit of mentorship. We'll work it out.
Okay. So we kind of shoot this as a like a TV scene almost. So Crow says, "Yeah, I just have to go call in a favor," and then we'll cut to Crow talking with, I'll remember names eventually, Satara.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are you? What's Crow saying to Satara? Like, how are you approaching that?
I need this to look as deliberately occult related as possible. What do I need to do to make this work?
Satara sounds female to me, so I'm gonna go with that. So she kind of sits back on this box. I'm assuming you guys probably meet up in an alleyway somewhere. She sits back on the box and like temples her fingers and begins to tap her fingertips together as she's thinking. She says, "Well, you could just have a ghost do it. I'm sure the spirit killing someone is the best way to make it look like a spirit killed someone. But if you don't want to go that way, I suppose I could be involved."
It might make more sense since if a ghost isn't handled quickly enough, it might not necessarily always be related to the occult. I need something a little more convincing.
So you're trying to get her to help you out with the job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a sway roll, and then if you want, you can push yourself to get an extra dice, and we could do a devil's bargain if you want. I think a good devil's bargain for this would be that you'd probably owe Satara a favor.
That is my plan. Satara is definitely going to have a solid you owe me on this one.
Okay. So are you pushing yourself as well, or is just taking the devil's bargain?
I'm going to take a devil's bargain. I want to save. Do I get a limited amount of pushes? Is my other question.
No, you can take them as much as you want, but the more stress that you put yourself under, the higher chance, or the closer you'll get to taking an injury.
Alright, I'm going to limit my stress for right now because it's probably going to get worse as this evolves.
Okay.
So I'm just going to take the devil's deal.
All right, so you get a additional bonus dice.
Okay.
This is a pretty easy ask for you because you guys have kind of done this thing where you ask each other favors before, so this is definitely a controlled roll, and it's a pretty standard outcome.
Okay, so I've got this part. Position controlled and...
Standard for the effect?
Okay, so just click submit and then select standard?
Yep.
Alright, want to make sure to do it right. Standard, okay. Bonus die.
You get one bonus die for your devil's bargain.
Got it. Whoa.
2 and a 1. All right. So Satara goes, "Fortunately, I have other arrangements that I've made that day. Will not be able to help you out. In fact, who did you say the target was again? That spirit essence vendor down by the docks?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he and I kind of have an arrangement, and it's working out pretty well for me right now. I just saw hybrid mouth. Shit. So, I'm not going to tell him because you're an old friend, but if he calls for some help, I might have to show up, so I suggest you keep your actions quiet.
Quiet and quick.
And she kind of fades off into like this black smoky ether and disappears.
I walk back in, kind of grumbling and cursing, just... He's going down!
Well, that can't be good. Take it your meeting didn't go too well?
Oh, it went just fine, and turns out that son of a husk bucket has his finger in one too many honeypots.
So your friend is his friend too?
Yeah, and I'm not good with sharing. Don't give me that look, it's not like that.
Really? Because it's kind of sounding like that.
I will spit on your frock coat.
Always with the clothes.
Would you rather your hair?
Hair is easier to clean.
I'm gonna have the dog poop in his shoe one day and not tell him before he puts his feet in them. It's gonna be in the list of plans.
Well, it looks like we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way and kind of figure how we can make this look like an occult, whether it's like carving this guy up or it's...
Do they use any poisons?
Branding him?
Or if they use... If they're seen with any like specific weaponry, even just like decorative daggers or something, if we could get our hands on one of those and leave it in the guy after we kill him, might be good enough.
So I think since we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, I would suggest either myself or the Lurk or both of us kind of trail the guy, see what his pattern is. From there, see if we can figure out like a plan on when he's alone. Because if we do it on the dock, I mean, we don't have a lot of time to kind of like prep a body to make it look like it was, a cult necessarily. Unless we did just happen to have a dagger that was, engraved or something.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can definitely stalk him for a little bit and kind of figure out his patterns and his routines and maybe where he goes, when he's done setting up shop. If you guys want to stalk him for a little while and shadow him, it's going to be... I want to call that we could either could do hunt for Gunner, or yeah, I think hunt or prowl are really kind of the ways you guys are looking at something like that.
Yeah, that could work.
Yep.
If Gunner wants to watch from the high ground, and I can do it from the ground floor, essentially.
And while they're stalking this guy, would I be able to talk to Eckert to see if he's maybe come across any weaponry on bodies that we may be able to use to plant on the mark to make it look like he was killed by a specific group?
Yeah. So you're just trying to is this just coming up in normal conversation, or are you trying to like get more information out of him?
It's more I'm gonna go to him and just inquire through his findings, as he is a corpse thief. If any treasures that he may have found have been a sort of dagger linked to any occult group within the city, preferably that operates around the dock area.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and give me a sway roll.
Okay.
Again, you can use add a bonus dice for 2 stress, or you can take a devil's bargain if you need an extra dice there. Because generally you come to him for stuff for your potions and whatnot. So coming to him asking about specific treasures that he may not want to part with is you're gonna have to kind of get him to give you a little bit more information than normal.
Is just giving? He knows the line of work I'm in, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I let him know that it's just I have to make it look like somebody else was responsible for this one.
Okay. Yeah. Give me your sway roll there.
Is it going to be risky?
It'll be no. Well, it is a little risky because you're giving him details about a job. So yeah, let's go with risky and
Okay.
just a standard effect.
I only have position. Do I hit submit or?
Yeah, hit submit, and then you should get effect that pops up.
Yeah,
okay.
it gives you one at a time, which I think is kind of cool.
Okay. I gotcha. Bonus dice, none.
Yeah, you're not using any stress or taking a devil's
No.
bargain. Okay.
No, because I know it may be very rare that he has it, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like that shot in the dark type thing.
Right. So it's a 3. So there is a complication. So he doesn't have anything for you, and because you are kind of giving him details on the job, you guys are going to take an extra heat at the end of the score, because somebody now knows kind of specifics around the job that you're doing.
Damn.
Good job, Fancy Pants.
I was giving him information as a friend because we kill him. Hey, there's another thing that he can rob.
Yeah.
But
I think if you'd have gotten a 4 or a 5, I'd have probably taken that argument a little bit better. But Poe is officially 21. Happy birthday, Poe. Everybody tell Poe
happy birthday, Poe.
You can now legally drink.
Yay, I get to have 21 spankings.
What?
I get to spank him. This is going to be great. Man, my hand is really going to hurt.
All right, so we've got you guys are tracking down your target Thorn, as far as Gunner, and HB Fox is Aelin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so and you guys have kind of split this up where Aelin's tailing him on the streets, and Gunner is kind of tailing him from rooftops and a little bit further away. It sounds like.
Yep.
All right. So go ahead and what we'll do is we will add a bonus dice to Gunner's hunt roll.
Okay.
Since HB Fox is also since Aelin, I'm going to try to refer to character names here. Since Aelin is helping out with it. So go ahead and give me your hunt roll and give me a bonus dice. Because you guys are hanging back, you're not in any kind of rush. It'll be a controlled roll with a standard effect. Do you want to take any bonus dice from pushing yourself or a devil's bargain?
No, I get one bonus die from just having Aelin with me, though. Correct.
Yeah, right. So he's kind of helping.
So
out.
yeah, I'll just take that one controlled roll. Sounds good.
All right.
With the bonus dice.
Man, the dice do not like you guys tonight. A 4.
Wow.
So you got a success. So you guys were able to tail him. Aelin, unfortunately, isn't as good as hanging back as he'd like to think, or being as unobservant as he'd like to think. So Thorn kind of picks up on Aelin tailing him, and kind of once he does, he starts to behave a little bit more erratically. So you're not sure if this is his daily routine, or if there are other places that maybe he visits on a daily basis that you guys don't know about. But you do stick with him through the day and to the night and find kind of his house and where he kind of retires to. And it's this like 2-story brownstone. He makes a point to pull the gated door behind him. Or not the gated door, what's the term when you have you've got a screen door that's all iron and then you have the actual door. So he's making a point to kind of close both of those behind him.
So it's like a security door.
Yeah.
Steel one, and then the main door. Is there anybody else in that house, or is it just him?
Looks to be just him.
Okay.
Is there any obvious back entrance to the house or anything like that, or just any loose window that we could open up if we wanted to get in there?
Yeah. So it's a row house, so there's no real back entrance because it's just house next to house next to house. But there does appear that one of the windows on the second story is cracked, about enough for you to be able to get your hand in and lift the window up further. And it looks like you guys kind of watch the lights in the house come on as he kind of moves through the house, and it looks like that's likely his bedroom window.
But no other lights during that entire time have changed, not depending on where he's at. So, like, if he was in his bedroom, no other lights would be, like, turned off or walked by.
Yeah, right. They kind of follow him through the house. You can actually kind of map his movements through the house by the way the lights turn on and off and which rooms he goes into.
Okay. What about his neighbors? Any are they like nosy? Do they like peer out their windows like when he gets home? Anything like that happen?
Let's see. Hang on. Let me see what the docs kind of look like. So
or is it pretty well isolated?
No, there's definitely some neighbors around that you see movement and can hear kind of stuff in the houses around him.
Okay.
It's not anything where anybody's kind of paranoid or anything. It's a pretty normal neighborhood. It's about middle of the road as far as wealth goes. But there's definitely some neighbors and that keep an eye, or not keep an eye, but are moving around in their houses as well.
Okay. Well, Aelin, do we head back and report our findings?
Yeah, I think we've figured out about as much as we're going to. How many stories are these houses in the area?
So they're 2 stories with an attic.
Okay.
Right. Anything else you guys want to do before you head back?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
We've learned everything we're going to.
So going back, we'd pretty much report that 2-story with an attic, security steel door. So we have options right now. We can either try to get him at the docks, which I think would be a worse idea just because of the number of people potentially there. Or we could do it at his house when, we could set up beforehand, do the deed, and then make it look and spend the time, if we can get away quietly, to make it look like an occult killing. Like blood on the walls, like symbols, things like that.
Does he live alone?
From what we could tell, yes. From our observations, like the lights when he got home moved with him. It wasn't like anybody else was there walking around along.
Now, if we do it at the house, we kind of have 2 obvious options for making it happen. We could try and sneak in through that window, which would probably involve rappelling down from the roof unless you guys are really good at climbing. When he's asleep, or one or more of us can try and get him to come down to the front door, and somebody else can sneak in through the window while that's happening, and then get him when he comes back into that bedroom.
Is there a chance that we may be able to go into his house while he is not home and wait for him there?
I think that would be the best idea too.
Unless he closes that security gate. We'd have to go in through the window, but it would be broad daylight.
The security gate, what does it look like?
So it's a wrought iron gate that kind of closes over the door, and it's really just like wrought iron bars. It's got some filigree and some kind of flourishes to it, but it's mainly just wrought iron. It's like a security. It's like a security gate.
So it's something I would be able to wreck.
Yeah, you could probably do something like take it off its hinges or something. It doesn't have any like mechanical, or not mechanical, but any electrical components to it or anything. It's really just like, a gate with a lock.
Okay.
I mean, for the daylight thing too, if we did want to try to set up earlier, I mean, Crow's character, Crow can do the fog to kind of conceal movement for that, making it probably a little bit easier to get into his house without alerting the neighbors.
True.
And I'm quiet as a mouse when it comes to wrecking things.
Well, if we get in before he gets home and we wait for him, then we wouldn't want to actually wreck anything because it would just tip him off that somebody's been breaking into his house. So we'd have to remove the gate and get in and then replace the gate.
I can do that.
Because you have Tinker, right?
Yeah, I have Tinkerer and Wreck.
Tinker, Wreck, okay.
Yeah.
So did either of you notice
Fooling with
any
things
other...
is my specialty.
Did y'all notice any other alarm systems or anything going on, like tripwires or anything like that, that may cause us a problem if we wait for him?
Well, he seemed to just stroll up to the house and go in. Didn't look like he was disabling anything or being careful where he stepped.
All right.
I mean, the thing with that too is like if we do it during the daytime, anybody walking by could always draw attention away from the house while whoever's sneaking in does their thing.
So it sounds like you guys kind of have a plan together. So you're gonna wait till he leaves the apartment or the house rather. Work your way in and wait for him to return. Is that the gist of it?
Sounds like the best plan.
I'm for that.
Bro, do you know any markings that the like any cultists may use to mark a traitor or someone who has earned a score with them? Because I mean, instead of us, using a weapon to make it look like they did it, it could be just, I don't know, painting the wall with the symbol of his blood and that of a traitor.
Magson, that's probably something Crow knows.
Yeah, that's why I was asking Crow.
Yeah, but I personally don't know.
Yeah.
So
No, feel
why
free
we're
to
kind of looking at you like.
No, sorry. Feel free to go. Yeah, I totally would know that. Yeah, but that's definitely something you would know.
Okay. Then, what I'm gonna recommend then is we do one of those. Probably the most creative one will be like splattering his blood into a nice little pattern on the wall, with a little smiley face on the side.
So I shouldn't bring my brushes with me, is what you're saying.
Nope, in fact, I'll probably cut off his own hand and make him draw it himself.
I like it.
So before we actually get into this, we'll need to figure out who is doing what.
Yep.
We're going to need the fog to remove that gate. So that's Crow on the fog, and then Chesh on the gate. And are we just going to have one of us in there to get him, or is there going to be more of us? I think Chesh will probably have to stay behind to replace the gate after we're in, so it doesn't tip him off.
Yeah, I would highly suggest at least a 2-man team inside. We don't know how well this guy's going, or how much of a fight this guy's going to put up.
Yeah, no guns for me, so that makes it difficult for my job. I mean, I have finesse, so I mean I can do some like hand-to-hand stuff, but
yeah, you could get your hand on like a dagger or something and still be pretty useful with it.
Pretty useful, yeah, for that. So.
Oh, is that what finesse is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
skirmish is more like straightforward,
brawling
head-to-head, and then Wreck is like just super strong smash.
I have a little.
Now I really want to take that point out of study and put it in finesse because I didn't know how the combat was done.
Yeah, go for it.
I have a little bit in both finesse and skirmish, and I have that ghost veil. So that would give me a chance to like get right up on him. But if I screw that up, I would definitely need some backup there to help me take him down.
We'll all be in there with you.
Well, you'd have to remain outside to replace the gate after we got back in, or after we got in. Unless you can do that from the inside, but that might be difficult.
Well, let's make that call when we get there. I might be able to do that.
Because wouldn't
Rod
Tinker
Iron, he could
be,
probably reach through the bar and put it back.
couldn't Tinker be just picking the lock to it, or is it like an actual bar that goes across?
That's what I was thinking. Was instead of completely wrecking it, I could just pick the lock.
Yeah, that works too. All right, so we'll kind of cut to you guys walking up onto this townhouse, or this set of row houses where you guys kind of stalked Thorn to the night before. And so you guys are waiting for him to be gone, and then kind of waiting for him to come back. Are you going like as soon as he leaves for the day, or are you going like mid-morning or afternoon, or when do you guys want to approach the house?
I think the best time is when he sets up shop.
During 8, that's when a lot of people would be going out, though.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's 8
a.m.
8 a.m. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's not a good idea.
Well, I think we just want to try and get in there, 2 or 3 hours before
He's due
he would
to
be
come
expected to come. Yeah.
Okay.
Before he
Yeah.
comes home.
So
What time did we trail him to when he came back, by the way?
He led you guys through some alleys unnecessarily, trying to like shake his tail. But he got back to his house around let's call it 6 o'clock.
Okay. So I say, like, get there at 3. I mean,
Yeah.
most normal people who would be at docks would be working during that time. I can stay guard and I can survey when, like, if you guys are being spotted. So I should be kind of like the one who stays out to see, keep an eye out, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose that would work because then if something's going wrong, you could just have Forbes bark to get our attention. I mean, that's a lot less conspicuous than somebody shouting to get our attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna cut to like the casing scene that you see in like Ocean's 11 or something. We've got
The montage.
yeah, so we've got Gunner. We've got the 4 of you kind of walking up the street to this house, and Gunner kind of breaks off with Forbes, and there's a strip of park kind of across the street from where the house is, and you just kind of sit down and start hanging out with Forbes, keeping an eye on the whole place, and then Crow, you're kind of using your ability. It sounds like.
As soon as it's clear enough where nobody can obviously see I'm the one causing it, yeah.
Okay.
We're bringing in a little bit of fog.
So the road is pretty quiet. There's some people kind of at the other end of the park that are out there, playing with their dogs or walking their dogs or whatever. But the street where the apartment is pretty quiet at the moment. So you're gonna go ahead and kind of start the fog up around the area around his doorstep and whatnot. Yes, yay, nay.
Bags.
What? Sorry. I'm sorry, I had an ADHD moment.
So the street's pretty quiet and clear, other than some other people in the park at the other end. And you're just gonna kind of walk up to his doorstep and begin to use some of the fog up around the area.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have to take stress for that, right?
Yep, and I also have to roll a tune for anytime I'm having to set this up as cover for my teammates. I have to roll in a tune.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your attune. Do you want to take any bonus dice for this?
No, because I've already got 2 in a tune, so I should be fairly well set.
All right.
How do you want me to set it up? Risky?
No, it's pretty controlled. You guys are it's a quiet street in the middle of the day, so you're You're right there. You're not really doing anything obvious that's summoning it either. So go ahead and do it controlled with a standard effect.
Standard and no bonus die. Okay.
A 6. Right on.
Nice.
So you're able to you're hanging out, maybe leaning up against a lamppost or something, trying to act very nonchalant as a kind of an extra lookout as well. And the fog begins to kind of roll up over the street, a little thicker than normal fog, kind of obscuring the view, and it begins to kind of wash over the front of not only his house, but the two on either side as well. So it's not really just his house that's being obscured, it's kind of the block of houses.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and so we get this fog rolling up and over the houses, and then Chesh, you're gonna work your magic on the lock.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, let's hope.
Go ahead and give me a tinker roll. Do that.
Tinker roll.
Yeah.
Is this controlled?
It is.
Okay, this is a controlled roll.
Standard effect.
Standard effect. No bonus dice.
Unless you want to take some.
So how much stress do I take for bonus dice?
2.
I'll take 2 stress for a bonus die.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? This sounds like something I should take a little bit of stress for, seeing as how it's the only point of entry we have. So I'll take the stress for the bonus die.
Sounds good.
And work my magic.
All right, so a 5. So you're able to get it unlocked, but as you're working with it, you kind of jam the lockpick in it a little hard at the wrong way, and so it's bent. It bends one of the components inside, so the gate no longer kind of stays shut anymore. It'll latch, and then it'll swing back open on its own, kind of a few moments later.
Well, hopefully it will stay. Since I have the Saboteur special ability, would that change it in any way?
What does that do?
Wait. Oh, that's for wrecking. That's for not tinkering.
Yeah, you wrecked it.
I accidentally wrecked it.
All right, so you guys have the security door open, and the front door is actually a lot easier for you to pick. It's not even really difficult. The security door was really kind of the thing that's keeping most people out. If anybody wanted to come in and like jam a screwdriver into the lock, you could get into the front door. So you guys get into the front door.
Okay, so that lock on the front door is kind of like an insult to my talents.
Yeah, it really is. So you sorry, go ahead.
Is there anything I could do to maybe get that gate to at least appear like it's shut, so it doesn't really look like it's off its latch too much? Maybe make it look like that he just forgot to close it all the way this time.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
Just, like leave it open all the way, and just.
Yeah, I just want to make it look like it was like just human error, and he may have not shut it completely when he left.
Sure. I mean, there's no visible damage to the lock from the outside. It just won't latch anymore. So.
Okay.
All right, so you guys get into his house, and I think there's a good spot for us to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and start the last hour for today.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
We're starting to get good too.
Right when HB and I are about to botch the mission.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, get up, stretch, walk around, do what have you, and we'll be right back.
chimichangas. So
And we're back.
they've been dubbed chimichangas. Hi.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Back.
So, you guys have successfully broken into Thorn's house under cover of fog. We've got Gunnar and Forbes keeping an eye out outside, making sure that no unexpected visitors show up to Thorn's house. And so now we have, it's Aelin and Chesh inside Gunnar's house?
Yup.
Kind of laying in wait?
Yep.
Okay.
And I went up to, like, straight up to the, what we assumed was his bedroom. And I'm just waiting in there until I hear what sounds like him coming in or coming home.
Okay. So what you guys find inside the house is that the house is cluttered with these jars of black, thick, kind of soupy liquid. Enough that, like, it's thick enough that if you slosh one, it kind of stains the side of the glass and takes several minutes for it to kind of fade back into the rest of whatever this liquid is. And so
Gross.
all of the rooms are kind of stacked with these jars.
Wonder if these are the stuff for the Lotus.
No, this is the spirit essence. If either of you have any kind of history at all with the arcane at all, you'd recognize it.
Oh, would I, like, with just being a like a tinker and like all that stuff, would I have any inclination of what this may be? Or
you'd have a good guess, knowing that she told you guys that that's kind of what he deals in, and it matches a lot of, like, kind of the electroplasmic stuff that you've seen around. You've probably seen it, but not really worked with it in a kind of a raw form at all.
Okay. I just like when I see it like stain across the side of the glass, I just go, mental note: do not get on shirt.
So you, HP Fox, you make your way up to, Aelin makes her way up to the room that you guys assumed is going to be Thorn's bedroom. And it's a very kind of meager bedroom. It's got a cot and a wool blanket. He's got two other kind of change of clothes piled on the foot of the cot. And then the rest of the room is filled up with these glass containers. These are probably 5-gallon containers of this stuff.
Is there any, like, corner of the room or just empty space anywhere that I could stand comfortably and wait? And I'm just looking for somewhere where I could be out of his way and where I could remain invisible or shadowy when I hear him coming this way.
Right. No, because it's basically he's gotten to hoarder status with these spirit essence jars. Like, the only floor that's not covered by them is the path to the bed.
Do these, just by the look, do these look like they would be volatile enough that they can explode if mishandled?
Yeah. Looking at your sheet to kind of see what would give you that information. You can give me a study roll, and if you want to study the jars a little bit and figure out.
What position are we talking here?
This one's probably risky, because if it is and you mishandle the jars, then or if you get the information wrong, then that could lead to some disastrous results.
Okay.
So let's do
like I'm not trying to handle them or anything. This is like just like looking them over.
Right, but if if your information's wrong,
true.
Some pretty dire results.
Okay.
So let's go with risky, and then standard. Do you want to push yourself or take a devil's bargain?
No, I'm not pushing myself. This is just me running a what if scenario through my mind.
Okay.
Nope.
So you're actually pretty sure that this stuff is pretty stable.
Okay.
From what you
I
remember
just-
and your workings with stuff like this, it's always been pretty stable.
Okay. As I just sigh to myself and just walk over to another part of the room. Well, there goes the idea of just setting up this place to blow up.
All right. Any other prep that you two want to do in the house at all?
I think I'm just going to remain in that room in the very small path that I can stand in, and just listen very, very closely for his footsteps.
Okay.
Yeah, I case over the house to see if there are any areas that would be more comfortable to the point to where they're not really a choke point or anything like that, with all the jars laying about, as to being able to move freely without making too much noise.
Okay. So the only part of the house that isn't stuffed with these containers is his kitchen. He's got it kind of cleared out. He's got his counter space cleared out, and really like a path from the living room to the kitchen in the back of the house, to the fridge, and then upstairs. So the kitchen in the back of the house is really the only area that has any kind of room to maneuver at all.
So, and everything else is just like you said, an episode of Hoarders.
Pretty much.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, I never believe it to be professional to have two assassins in the same room, as it doesn't cover other points of entry. Is there any spots, say, within the kitchen that may be that would go over well as a hiding spot?
So there is a pantry. The shelving kind of starts at about your middle of your chest and goes up, and it's filled with like canned goods and some spices and some oils for cooking. The bottom of it has stacks of rice and flour that you could probably sit in or on top of, and kind of squeeze yourself into the pantry.
Okay. The spices. Anything that would have an effect on the eyes?
Yeah, so he's got some peppers and some like cayenne. He's actually got like, quite a bit of like hot spices in there, like paprika type things and whatnot.
Are they in any containers or anything like that?
Yeah, they're in little like glass vials.
Okay. I will take. I just take one of the vials of one of the hot peppers, and I just keep it in my hand.
Okay.
Or like just the vial itself, keep in my hand as I hunker down into the hiding spot.
Okay. HP Fox, you're staying in the bedroom, kind of as off to the side as you can. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of hours pass, and we'll do a kind of a fade-away as you guys are getting set up in the pantry in the bedroom, and then kind of fade back in to the scene of him kind of walking up the steps to his house. He kind of nods to Crow as he passes. I'm assuming you're still kind of hanging out.
Just kind of do the little eyeglass adjust as a kind of a nod.
Okay.
Like, okay, hi.
And he walks up and he sees that that the gate's open, and he kind of tilts his head a little bit, kind of unsure of why it's open, and takes a cautionary look over his shoulder. And Gunnar, you're still just kind of playing with Forbes?
Yeah.
Okay. There's on your sheet, Panzer, there's a fortune roll. I believe it's at the bottom left. Let's see if he recognizes you. I could be wrong at where it's at on the sheet though.
Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Yeah, roll fortune.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Let's see.
But it was HB Fox who he kind of spotted, because I was the one who was more on the rooftops.
You're right. That's a good call. You're right. So never mind that. So he glances around a little bit unsure of himself as the security gate on his house is open. And he takes a moment to kind of inspect it, but he doesn't see any physical kind of damage to it at all. So he just kind of shrugs his shoulders and unlocks his front door, and walks in, closing it behind. He pulls the security gate closed, and he lets go of it, and it hangs for a second like it latched. And he begins to kind of close the front door, and then it swings back open again. And he kind of gives it another look, and then just closes the front door. And at this point, Chash, you can hear him kind of moving through the house as he's taking off his hat and his coat, and he's placed it on top of some of the glass containers. But you hear him kind of stumble for a moment. You hear his footsteps kind of as he stumbles and catches himself. And then he begins to make his way upstairs instead of back towards the kitchen. So HP Fox, you hear the same thing, and you can actually hear his steps kind of stumble a couple of times as he makes his way upstairs. You can hear him kind of pound on the wall as if like he fell against it. And then the door to the bedroom swings open, and all you can really see from your position is this silhouette kind of standing in the door frame.
Okay, well, right when the door starts to move is when I'm going to trigger my Ghost Veil, and I'm going to use that extra bit of stress there to make myself completely invisible instead of just shadowy.
Okay, so you take 3?
Yep.
All right. And so he's opening the door. He's got the light kind of pouring in over his shoulders into the bedroom. And he takes a few steps, and you can kind of smell from him that he's fairly drunk. And he just kind of falls face first down onto the cot.
Time to do our job.
All right. So how are you going about it?
I guess I don't have to be too careful since he's just like plastered, but I still try not to knock anything over or displace anything, and just get above him and give him the old stab.
All right. You just kind of stabbing him in the back, or you slitting his throat, or?
I'm gonna stab him just like multiple times in the back, kind of in like the kidney area and up near the ribs.
Okay. All right, so the camera kind of pans away, and we see this shadow of a knife as it kind of carves into this guy's back, and you're coming at it, I'm guessing, from a couple of different angles to try to make it look like it was multiple assailants.
Yeah, like it was just kind of it wasn't something that was planned out for like a long time. It was just, these guys wanted this guy dead, and they just went in there and they did the job.
Okay. So after a few minutes, I'm gonna guess we see kind of a hand kind of wave out of his bedroom window at Crow, kind of calling her up.
Yeah, so she can come draw the symbols in his blood.
Okay. And so we'll get a shot of Crow kind of carving or drawing out these symbols with the guy's hand. I think she said that she was going to do it with his own hand.
Yep.
All right. And then you guys kind of slip out the front door. You leaving the door open or closed, or?
I think we should leave it open.
Okay.
I'm pocketing a few of these ectoplasms. So I claim 3.
All right. So these are like 5-gallon jars. So
cracker.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive.
Okay, so I'm waddling with one. It's like, we need to be quick.
All right.
Like, this is mine.
Let's see. All right.
Can I roll a survey?
Yeah.
To see like if any of the neighbors heard anything, or if they just like anything like that.
Yeah, go for it. Controlled, standard. Take bonus dice if you want to. All right, so there was, as you were kind of watching and playing out there with Forbes, there was a neighbor that kind of noticed that you'd been there for a while. They didn't really pay attention to the comings and goings at Thorne's house, but it's somebody that did kind of keep an eye on you.
Okay. So everybody else is exiting the house right now, correct? Out the front door?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get up, call my dog, and start walking away.
All right. And we will kind of cut that scene with you guys, the four of you kind of walking down the street back towards Six Towers. Yeah, so that was your first job. Well done.
I was muted. I was muted that entire time.
Good job.
You're
God
just
damn! I was
man.
wondering why like Imp was
Just
like
hiding in the
ignoring
pantry.
me as I was like talking.
I saw
I'm
your
like, wow, what the hell's going on here?
I saw your mouth moving, but I was like, no, he's probably talking to his roommates.
Oh no, I just forgot to unmute my microphone like a scrub. But like I told you that I was putting the stuff back in the pantry that I had taken out.
Okay.
And just like shutting it with like a little reassuring pat, and then when we made our way out, I was gonna suggest that we all go our separate ways and not travel together in a pack.
Okay. Yeah, you just kind of split off and then meet back up at the lair later.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. So that was your first successful score. Good job. So downtime in D&D usually it can get glossed over a lot of times, but downtime in Blades in the Dark is one of those things that it actually this is where we tally up like how much heat you guys got from this job, if your rep went up, how you're dealing with the stress that you may have accumulated while you did the job, stuff like that. So it's actually a pretty important piece of this. And this is definitely something, and this is where we hand out XP for how the job went and everything. So this is something that I'll probably just kind of talk through with you guys, and we'll figure out kind of where we think this lands best for all of this stuff. So the first thing that we get to deal with is the heat from the job. You guys did pretty good. You got in and out without really alerting anybody. It was real calm and quiet. I think we did end up with a little bit of heat from Chesh's contact there. Panzer, I'm using your character sheet, so if you have it open and you see it switched to... Actually, I should do this on HP Foxes. That's where I was doing it earlier. So you got some heat from that, so we'll give you one heat there. Mags, your interaction didn't really give you any heat, I don't think. Because it's kind of a friend and mentor. You just guys were kind of on the opposite sides of the coin on this one. Hey, Azrin. So I don't think I'm going to give you guys any heat for that. I think you just have the one from Chesh's kind of contact. Let's see. I don't know. I think we're going to call the docks probably aren't hostile turf for you guys, so I think we're okay there. So that's heat. Nobody got incarcerated, so we don't have any warning level or wanted levels or anything there. Entanglements. Let's see. So entanglements are something that I get to kind of roll for and figure out what happened. If there's a complication that came for you guys from this job. Let's see. I'm not going to tell you what I roll. I think this is something that you should get to do kind of in private and then just spring on you guys. That feels like a good way to do that.
with the theme of the game, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I can do something with that. That's okay. All right. So trying to find where else all right. So now we get to do kind of downtime activities, and we'll do the kind of, I just want to get this done tonight, and then we'll do the payday, I think, next time. But But this way we get to kind of see all the aspects of the game for you guys. So you have a couple of things that you can do for your downtime activities. And you each get 2 activities that you can do. So you can acquire an asset, which is like, all right, I want to go, like for Chesh's character, it might be go acquire a new suit. Or it could be that you've taken on an apprentice or a commandeered a vehicle, something like that. You can work on a long-term project, which if you guys have a project in mind that your character is probably working towards, what we'll do is we'll start a clock for it. And then every time you kind of spend time working on it, it will fill in some more of that clock. You can recover and take use some healing if you got injured during the job. You can reduce heat. So if you guys have 1 heat now, if you maybe go pay off a blue code or deal with wherever that heat is coming from, you can reduce that a little bit. You can train, and that'll allow you to mark 1 XP in your tracks as far as your insight, prowess, and resolve. Kind of moving that towards learning a new ability. And you can indulge a vice. And that reduces your stress. So let's start with Panzer all night. We'll just keep that going. Panzer, what do you feel like your character is probably doing in this downtime now that you've completed your score?
Well, I wasn't too stressed. Well, I didn't get any stress from that. Give me 1 moment while I pull up
worries.
Page 150.
It's 153.
I would probably use that time to acquire assets.
Okay. What are you looking to acquire?
Possibly like a cohort.
Okay. So somebody that kind of helps you out, maybe starts out watching Forbes for you if you have to go off and do a job where maybe he's not required.
Not required, or yeah.
Would draw too much attention. Okay. Yeah, we start off with that and kind of move in the direction of maybe you guys getting some expanding your gang and your crew a little bit, and that'll give you some options for like being able to collect a little bit more information and whatnot later on. All right. So you've got 2 actions. Anything else you want to do in your downtime?
Let's see. So for a long-term project, let's say because I take it all of the weapons in this game, like the pistols and stuff, are single shot. Is there any chance that I could do a long-term project in terms of making like a double-barreled pistol, like the old Derringers that have 2 like small bullets?
Yeah. So you want to build it from scratch, so it can't be traced back to anybody and whatnot.
Yes, but holding 2 shots, if that's a possibility. If not, then
yeah, we can do that. Let me draw a really shitty clock, and I will get some actual ones later on to use. But and that's a pretty long-term project. I think that feels like it should probably have 8 segments to it, to me, because that's something you're building the gun pretty much from scratch, wanting it to do something that like not a standard pistol's gonna do.
yes.
So that feels like a kind of an 8 clock to me. And we'll fill in what it is, and then I'll make something pretty later. All right. Chesh, what are you feeling for your downtime activities?
My downtime activities. Okay, so so if I were to go do my vice, that relieves stress, correct?
Yep.
Okay, yep. So since I've got some stress, I'm going to indulge in my vice, and I'm going to it's not really a means of going and getting a new suit. This is more it's going to be focused a little more on my pocket watch, as in cleaning it, making sure it's running properly. Just taking care of it so it's in pristine condition, seeing as how I saw a lot of them in that Lotus Den just tossed about, in just piles. It made me sad. So I want to make sure that my watch is never like that, just to be discarded.
Okay. So the way that this works is you've got a indulge vice button on your
Yes,
sheet.
I do.
If you roll higher than the amount of stress that you have, then you overindulge.
Oh, okay.
So you've got 2 right now, and you can try for it if you'd like, or
Okay.
you can. Another
Yeah,
option is something that you can do that maybe you need to roll on, and you can add some more stress by a bonus dice, and that'd give you 4, and then come back and indulge your vice. You can totally do it that way if you'd like.
So would I be able to say train in order to get that stress, or?
No, because training really just kind of how would you train? What would you be training? Let's play this out a little bit more.
Well, I'm kind of mad that when I picked that lock, I kind of damaged one of the tumblers, so it broke the latch.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hurt my professional pride that something so elementary in my eyes happened in the middle of a job. So I'm trying to get it to where I no longer make the same mistake again and endanger my team.
Okay. So let's say that maybe you were studying some locks, and you want to give me a study roll, and you can push yourself in your studies and get the stress that way.
There we go. So
right.
Is this going to be a controlled roll?
It is a controlled roll.
Okay. And then standard?
And standard, give yourself a bonus dice.
And then another two stress?
Yep.
All right.
All right, so you definitely do well in your studies. Go ahead and give yourself a 1 XP in wherever you'd like to put that. There you go.
That's just the little XP marker up there?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and then I indulge my vice,
And
you
now
said?
you can indulge your vice. And so what it does is it rolls your lowest score, and then you take the highest to remove the stress.
Okay, so no bonus dice, I just roll it?
Yep. All right, 4. Perfect. So you're down to 0.
Oh, right on.
And so your stress is cleared out. Nice work.
So, question for you. So,
Yeah.
for the acquire an asset, so it would be like a cohort, so an expert or a gang, basically. I still have to roll for that, though, right? To acquire the asset, roll the cruise tier.
Let's see.
The result indicates the quality of the asset you get.
Oh.
Bottom of page 153.
May
And so I can also put that on standby as well.
acquire roller cruise tier. Okay, so you're currently tier 1. So let me see. Hang on. This part's new for me. I've not actually looked over this part yet. To acquire the asset, roll the cruise tier. The result indicates the quality of the asset that you get using the cruise tier as the base. GMA 7. Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and roll the tier, which let's see if that's on the sheet. Where that's going to be at. Go ahead and give me we can just use a fortune roll for it.
Okay.
Because I should just roll 1, I believe.
I'm just going to do the input value notes asset. Submit. Number of dice is just 1, right?
Yep, just 1.
4.
All right, so 4 or 5 is going to give you guys a, let's see, just a kind of a -1. Is that right? No, it gives you a tier asset. Okay, so yeah, so you've kind of taken a street thug kind of under your wing a little bit, maybe shown him how to shoot a little bit better, and
Yep.
and you begin to like train him, and really he's kind of watching Forbes for you now.
Okay.
When
Sweet.
needed. All right. Mags. Ideas on your downtime activity.
Well, I had an idea for the jug that I got. I'd like to, if there's any way, I want to study its properties and kind of learn how to better use it in later events that may help me in later missions.
Okay.
So I want to spend some time on that. A little bit roleplay wise, once I'm done with it, I'm gonna go leave it on Quellen's stoop as kind of like, she did it. It was her. It was all her.
Okay. So for go ahead and we'll call this study a train.
Okay.
So go ahead and give yourself an XP.
Okay. Where are the X? Because that's the one thing I couldn't find.
So at the top of the section, you see the little like flag marks across from where it has like prowess.
Okay, so those little darts. Okay.
So you can click one of those. And then when that row is full, then you get another dot beside one of the actual skills.
Oh, swank. Okay.
Go ahead and give me your study roll to see what you kind of figure out from the
okay, so what am I getting with this? Like risky, controlled?
It's controlled. And it's standard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to push yourself, you can take some bonus dice, or we can kind of come up with a devil's bargain for you.
I'll do a little bit of a push.
Okay, so you're going to take 2 stress.
Mm-hmm. Let me go ahead and click those, and there we go.
All right, so a 4. So you get a little bit of information on kind of what you can do with the raw spirit essence, and I'll have to actually find the information for you, and I'll get that to you between sessions. But you've kind of gotten attached to it. You're like, I might actually have some uses for this. So instead of putting it on Quellen's doorstep, you've decided to keep it around.
Oh no.
All right, and then your second action.
I am going to go gamble.
All right. You got a particular card house that you favor?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Usually like finding random, orphans and kids on the street that are trying to do the little cup shuffles on the, to make a little bit of extra money, because I kind of understand where they're coming from. So it's kind of like, I kind of like the idea of possibly losing to let them have a little bit of money, but at the same time, it's like money.
Okay. All right.
So
go ahead and how many stress are you at currently?
I'm at 3.
You took 2 more from your study, right? So you're at 5.
No, I mean I had 1 to begin with, and then I added the 2 from the
study.
I'm
thinking
so
of
I'm
thinking of HB Fox, who took 3 earlier. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at 3 total.
So you got 50-50 chance of not overindulging, if you want to do that.
Okay. So no bonus die, just roll.
Just hit indulge vice, and no bonus dice. All right, so you did overindulge. Let's see how this works. Hang on. All right, so if your vice roll clears more stress levels than you had marked, you overindulge. A vice is not a reliable, controllable habit. It's a risk, one that can drive your character to act against their own best interests. Oh, you know what? I think I know what I want to do with this. Hang on. Let me double check something. Yeah. So you go out and you're looking to play a game of cups with the street urchins that you find, and you start to hustle them a little bit, and the kids like have lost their winnings to you, And so these street urchins are kind of leaving with their cups, the hands kind of shoved in their pockets, kicking rocks as they leave. And you turn around pretty happy with the winnings that you've made, and you are looking down at the purse and run directly into someone. And as you look up, it's somebody that stands probably a head taller than you, and he's probably got a good 50 pounds on you as far as bulk and muscle, and he's like, I believe that's my urchin's winnings.
How can you prove that they're yours?
He stretches and reaches behind his back and kind of comes back with this billy club in his hand. He's like, I don't think I need to prove anything. I think those are my urchin's winnings.
I lift up my shades and I just look at him with these big beady black eyes and it's like, I think you need to take a step back.
All right, give me a. Is that it? You can either give me a roll for that. Are you commanding him or are you trying to sway him?
I probably would have better luck with sway because I have nothing in command.
All right.
Oh, God. So risky?
Yeah, definitely a kind of a risky roll here.
Oh God, I'm gonna die. I think.
Hey, so he sees your crap. What is the name of that race?
Tycheros,
thank you. He sees your Tycheros eyes, and he takes a quick step back. It's like, all right, keep the money, but I'll remember you. All right, and let's see, HP Fox. What are we doing for your downtime actions?
I think the first action I'm going to do is go and try and consort with my buddy Darmit, the blue coat, to reduce our heat level.
Okay. So how are you? Are you just paying him off, or what are you doing for that?
Just seeing if he could do me a favor.
Okay. So you're consorting with him.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and give me your consort roll.
Yeah. Can I push that, or
if you could,
is there
push that
a
or
bargain I could make?
I could definitely give you a devil's bargain if you want to go that route. He's trying to lower your heat. Blue coat says, "All right, but you owe me a favor." Or I'm sorry, did you want to go devil's bargain route, or did you want to just push yourself?
Well, it would depend on what the bargain would be.
So I think the bargain in this case is that he's going to have you either do a favor. It's going to be a favor for him. Likely kind of taking out maybe a gang that's been causing him some problems in Six Towers. Or, he'd probably want your assistance catching somebody that's probably been on his radar for a while.
You know what? We're old buddies. I'll owe him a favor. I'm good with that.
Okay. Go ahead.
So is this risky, controlled, desperate?
You guys are old friends. I think this is probably pretty controlled. That's a standard effect. All right. He says, oh, wait, you didn't add your bonus dice from the...
I did select one, but it only rolled one dice.
That's because you didn't have any in consort. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, I figured that was probably...
Okay, sorry. So he says, well, that's out of my district. There's not a lot I can do to really help out with things that go on in the docks. Unfortunately, my contacts in the docks aren't that reliable for me to be able to call in favors.
Well, it was worth a try.
Oh. All right, you got another downtime action. What are you up to?
I think I'm just going to use that to train.
Okay, what are you training?
Probably prowl. Yeah, I'm gonna try and train in prowl, which is in the prowess area.
Okay. So, gonna do some prowling training. Are you like kind of working over rooftops, or how are you working on that?
Well, since I was kind of spotted, following that guy around earlier, I'm just gonna try and stay ground level, sticking to shadows while not alerting a target, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a fortune roll as you're practicing this. All right, good enough. Oh,
Awesome.
You have 0 dice. Take the lowest of the above result. 1. All right.
Not awesome.
I will store that away for later. I don't think there's any immediate repercussions because you're really just kind of picking random targets and following them, trying not to get seen.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and give yourself a point of XP. And I think that's it for our downtime activities.
Could I actually change mine from like the gun thing? Because if we're just doing this for the month, 8 ticks is going to be like 4 games.
That's a really
Actually?
good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, let's change that.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. I was like thinking about that as I was looking at that. I'm like, it's not going to quite.
Yeah, no, that's a good call.
Not gonna fly.
I would, let's see, survey. Survey would probably be what I would want to train, which
Okay.
is the ability to kind of like predict what people are going to do, just like when I was surveying when they were all leaving the house if anybody spotted us. So, I mean, pretty much it could just be as simple as sitting in, a public place and people watching, figuring what, and predicting what they're going to do at that point.
Sure. Yeah, go for it. Something I failed to mention earlier and probably should have as we were doing this, you guys can also put the XP into your playbook advancement so that when that gets filled up, you take another special ability.
Oh.
So if anybody that took XP wants to move their XP down to the playbook advancement, feel free to do that.
So where is that on the character sheet?
It's on the bottom left if you scroll down. You have to scroll down for it. You should see a thing that says playbook advancement.
Almost to the bottom.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Oh, that's another thing that we need to look at. I forgot one other piece of this. This I have to go back to your folks for. All right, so we'll start with Panzer on this one just because your class comes up first. Did you address a challenge with tracking or violence?
Tracking for hunt.
Okay, so because you did, go ahead and give yourself another point of XP somewhere.
Okay.
Did you... there's another one to this. I'll have to find the question after we go through this. So, Rojan, for Leech, did you address a challenge with technical skill or mayhem?
Well, I did pick that lock.
All right. Yeah, give yourself a point of XP.
In anywhere?
In anywhere.
Okay.
Let's see. Lurk, HP Fox, did you address a challenge with stealth or evasion?
Twice.
All right. Let's see. We have the bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, the bedroom, and then also helping Gunner track the guy.
Okay. Yeah, let's call that 2 XP. And then Mags, yours is... that spider. Where's Whisper? There it is. Mags, did you address a challenge with knowledge or arcane power?
The symbol drawing deal,
Yeah.
I guess.
And your smoke? Or your fog?
Yep.
So take 2 XP for that.
Anywhere I want.
Anywhere you want. And there's another one that I think has to do with like your heritage and your background. Let me see if I can find where that's at real quick.
Looking at it, it says you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background, and another one is you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session.
Yep. What page is that on?
I'm looking at it on the character sheet.
Yeah, playbook advancement on the sheets.
Okay. So we'll go back around. So Panzer, did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background at all?
Nope, I played it really safe.
Okay. You didn't struggle with any issues from your vice or trauma during that session, so you're okay there. Rojan, we got beliefs, drives, heritage, or background for you?
Beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Aside from hitting up Eckerd, nothing. I don't know if that would count.
Well, you kind of played to that a little bit as far as beliefs, where in the den, I think, where you were just kind of appalled.
This is true. This is true. I was.
So take an XP for that.
Okay.
Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session? I don't think you did on that one.
I didn't struggle with any issues.
Okay. Mags, we have express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
I don't know if it counts as expressing, but I revealed my background to a stranger.
Yeah.
Or my heritage to a stranger.
That's what I was going to say. Take an XP for that. And then struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. Your vice kind of got you into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
I'll give you an XP for that one. All right, and HP Fox, we have express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
Not really. I mean, I pulled the whole shared background thing with Darmit, trying to get him to help with the heat, but I don't know if that really counts.
Yeah, I'll give you an XP for that.
Awesome.
And then struggled with issues from your vice or traumas. I don't think we had any vice or traumas for you.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So that'll be our first session of Blades in the Dark.
GG.
How did everybody enjoy it?
Can we just make this the Wednesday game?
Yeah.
Right? This is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I am, maybe. I'm not opposed to the idea. I think it'd be worth talking through. I really enjoyed it. People that watched us as you guys came in, what'd you guys think? Did you enjoy it? I had a lot of fun with it, honestly. It was kind of got you guys right into the action right away. It encourages role playing, which I really like, by rewarding you for taking risks, which is also, as a GM, that's amazing. And I like the idea of rewarding you for taking risks like that.
So I like the idea that there's not all these crazy die rolls. It's like, okay, D10, D20, D this, D that. I'm like, button, push, go.
Yeah.
I really like this system.
Okay.
No, the Uni system is D10.
Yeah, this is one that just came out. Hey, Cap, it has been a long time, sir. How have you been? Sorry. No, this is a new system that just came out. I believe the creator kind of came up with it to go with the setting. So.
Yeah, because I've never played a game that's straight D6s. I've played the old school Star Wars RPG, which is D6 and D10.
No, this is, I think, the only other game that I've played that's been straight D6 is a Shadowrun. But Shadowrun, you also end up rolling, roll 20 D6s.
Yeah.
It's like, you need a pound of dice to play Shadowrun. All right. So it seems like everybody really is enjoying the system. Roller says he likes it in chat. At least I'm guessing that's what that yay is for. That's how I'm going to interpret it anyway. We might do this for the Wednesday. I don't know. I hesitate to commit to DMing another game. Is my problem.
Yeah, but this game is something that we were able to work with you a lot more.
It is
feeding you stuff.
It is
to where our actions are what's screwing us over.
Yeah, which makes it does make my life a little bit easier. So it's possible. I think we can talk about that offline and see how everybody feels about it.
Okay.
Other than that, what did you guys? Okay, we touched on it a little bit. What did you really like out of the system?
I felt like it gave us a lot more freedom in our actions as characters, just to kind of determine what happens.
Yeah. So a lot of the responsibility of what happens to your character is up to you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
You weren't getting mad that you were botching rolls or anything.
No, it
I
actually
think that
made
makes
it
it more fun.
interesting.
All right.
Yeah. It's like a botched roll is like, oh crap, I botched, but at the same time, it's even though I botched, it adds to the story.
Yeah. So
it's not like, oops, somebody rolled a 1 and then shot HB in the back with a dart.
Yeah,
usually
I mean,
he's on the providing end of that, and not the receiving end of that.
Yeah, tell Tiny that last night.
Right?
How many
That critical hit.
How many players have you killed, HP Fox?
2 or 3.
And a dog.
and a dog.
Well, the dog was
Better not
deliberate.
kill my dog, man.
So, well, not quite deliberate, but it was. The action was deliberate.
All right. Well, it seems like everybody really enjoyed it. For me, DMing this, I've got to learn the rules a little bit better, but this is my first time DMing it, so I'm going to blame it on that. I like that your downtime actions, what you're doing when you're not doing a score, has influence over the game and can get you into trouble.
Yeah.
That enforcer that Mags just kind of mouthed off to will probably likely remember her. So it's stuff like that. That's going to be really neat. I enjoy that it encouraged some kind of some group storytelling a lot more than what D&D does. Because D&D, while it does encourage group storytelling, a lot of it is, okay, I'm going to hit this thing with my sword now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I really like about the group stuff in this is you really have to keep in mind that your actions aren't just for your character, like it typically seems to be in D&D. Like your actions can have a lasting impact on the entire group.
Yeah. Like everyone has their job and their role in the team to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like with the whole interaction like between Mags and everything, like how you said that guy's gonna remember it. It made me think that there's kind of like a Telltale feel to this.
He's going to remember that.
Yeah, it's
Not if he's
definitely
dead.
definitely has a focus on storytelling, I think, more than a lot of other systems that I've played. So I'm really enjoying it. But it was about time to wrap up. We should tell everybody where they can find you guys online. HP Fox, you don't do anything online at all. You're a terrible person. We're gonna stop you.
I don't really like the internet, so what can I say?
Rojan, who are you? What do you do online?
I'm a scrub is what I am. No, I'm Rojan Quest. I'm a variety caster over on my channel. Imp, you got that command up, or do I need to put that in?
I got
there?
it. I got you.
There you go. Just play a ton of games every day. Right now, currently working on my backlog. Still on Dark Souls because I took a little break due to Conan and Tales of Berseria, but I'll be going back to that. Going to be jumping on it tonight right after this stream to just play some Overwatch with some friends. So there's that.
All right. And you DM here on Tuesdays as well.
Oh yeah.
For a change of pace.
I DM on Tuesdays over here for a change of pace, and then Sunday over on my own channel.
All right. Panzer, who are you? What do you do online?
I am a variety streamer. I actually just started up 3 weeks ago, just about. It's been about 3 weeks. Finally broke 100 followers. Thank goodness.
Nice.
Small steps.
That's pretty good for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Great viewers, people who come by daily. Really kind of play towards like trying to cultivate a community versus just like you play this specific game, which is the reason why I decided to go variety. I do Dark Souls, I do Rainbow Six Siege, I mix it up and I do some fighting games as well. What I'm really excited for is Neo coming out. Like, I'm so excited for that game. And then Ghost Recon as well. So, yeah, I played a ton of different stuff. Try to keep it chill.
Right on. Hybrid, who are you? What do you do online?
I'm a hybrid magpie. Everybody just calls me Mags or Magpie, whichever's easier and less to type. I am also a variety caster. Main focus of my channel is mainly art. I do channel artwork. I do characters and all kinds of stuff for different channels for commissions. I play a variety of games. A lot of focus on horror because apparently my horror reaction is the best thing in the world, and I hate my viewers for it. And whatever I can get my hands on, I love to play. So
Resident Evil 7.
it's on the list, okay?
Resident Evil 7.
Such a good game. The
I
first
want to
half was
see.
so good.
I want to see Mags play Resident Evil 7 in VR.
No.
Alex, welcome to the game. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I'm Impious. I am the resident DM here on Dungeons and Distractions. I would say that I stream other things, but that's an outright lie. I mod when I can for folks who let me for some strange reason, and I work on a lot of content for this channel. I really enjoyed tonight. This was a lot of fun. We are gonna go raid somebody. If you guys would stick around with us for just a second, make sure that they're still on as we did our shout outs here, and then we're gonna go raid somebody here real quick as soon as Twitch refreshes. So this was our first episode of Blades in the Dark. If you guys missed the beginning of it, we did character creation in kind of an episode 0 earlier, and this will go up on YouTube on our channel. I'll probably try to get it done tonight. And you can go catch it there. I think I put the YouTube link in the social command. No, I didn't. I'll have to fix that. Go look for Dungeons and Distractions on YouTube. You'll find it. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We really appreciated it. And we are going to go raid Laura Lana. She's doing some Heroes of the Storm at the moment, but she's also a big D&D streamer. She's been working on building a world for a Drow campaign. So we're going to go raid her. And we'll see you guys over there. Thanks.
That's interesting.
Sounds like it's going to be epic.
Not very many people do a Drow campaign. I like that.
She's going like super hardcore in depth with it as well.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't. I myself haven't even
even
played a Drow campaign before,
These
so
fucking
wanted to check that out.
you, Dungeons and Distractions.
Go,
for
go,
the
go.
host.
In.
Where are we going?
And my fucking chat is broken, so I can't give the raid message. God damn it.
I'll do
Fucking
it.
Twitch.
Aww.
She said thanks for that.
Well, it went through. It went through.
Okay. I just didn't
Oh,
know my
whoops.
end.
I copied and pasted the wrong thing.
There's no worries.
Yep.
GG, good job.
Whoops, GG.
GG, scrap.
Apparently that's my first raid ever. First raid ever? What? It's not like I don't go on 100 with him every time.